Okay, we have all 100 people on. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to CEC28's monthly calendar meeting, all 100 of you. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will be getting started momentarily in approximately 1 minute. So if you have your cameras off, you're more than welcome to put them on. We miss your faces. We miss seeing you. And it's a new year. We would like to see your new faces. So please, if you wish, you're able to, we would love to see your faces. We missed our community. Thank you all for joining. Hello, Elena. I see your face you're in the Alps somewhere. Yay. To all of our principals who are on board, if you don't mind renaming yourself, so we love to know that you are on. So all the principals, if you don't mind putting down like the word principal before your name. To all the school officials who are here, if you don't mind putting, teacher, instructor, parent coordinator before your name, we really appreciate all the district office representatives. If you don't mind renaming yourself, and you could put down that you are from the district, or we really appreciate that. And anyone else, if you can list your title. If you are representing an elected office, can you please put down that you are doing so, because that's how we will know that you are here from that office. And most importantly, that's how our community will know that you are here. I see Principal Hanley there. I see Principal Greco is there. Principal Vincent Sarachi is here. Principal Robin Signal is here in the house. I know Principal Lou Saint is here. It helps us so much to see that the word principal. There's Principal Nicholas Petrello is there. Okay, we'll acknowledge anyone else as we go along. We see Sonia Rueda, who's a D28 Family Leadership Coordinator from the district office is here. Excellent. Assistant Principal Jennifer is here. Okay, so the time now is, Latifa, can you give me a time check, please? Latifa, what's the time check?
It's now 6:44.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so today is January 5th, 2024. The time now is 6:44 p.m. And this is CEC28's monthly calendar meeting, our first meeting for 2024. And this meeting is called to order. My name is Vijay Ramjatan. I'm the CEC president. I want to welcome all 108 of you who is on with us tonight. I want to wish you a happy new year, and welcome to our meeting, very important meeting. And we thank you for being here. So without further ado, I'm going to be calling on our recording secretary, Latifa Lewis, to do the roll call. Latifa?
Hey, good evening, everyone. President Vijay Ramjatan.
I'm here.
First Vice President Lou Zhao.
Here.
Second Vice President Nurun Swapna. Recording Secretary Latifa Lewis, I'm here. Treasurer Yutao Cheng. Members Jaylin.
He's excused.
Member Julie South. Member Quentin Meston. Member Simone Don.
Present.
Member Adriana Elise. Member GK Kaliyanara.
Yeah.
Member Tanya Wentz.
Thank you so much. So a few things to our community and to all who's in this meeting. As you know, CEC28, we have a chat feature in our meetings. We want to let you know that we reserve the right to put down or stop the chat feature at any time if we feel the chat is becoming a little contentious, disrespectful, or not a great environment for a meeting or distraction. We reserve the right to do so. If you would like to speak at our public comment section of our meeting, you will get a chance to do so. You may have a minute and a half to do so. Please write the word speak. Just put the word speak. And our council members, today we're going to ask Quentin, and if you could ask Utah, if you can please keep a track on the chat feature to see those who sign up to speak. And then you can send me a list of that, those lists of speakers later on. We'll call them in order in which they have signed up to speak. We'll truly appreciate that. So Utah and Quentin, you will please check that, and then you can cross-reference to make sure you have everyone. So we can go ahead and do so. Two. We have 3 presenters this evening, and we'll talk more about them as we go along and in the order in which they will be speaking. And of course, we have our amazing superintendent acting for District 28, who's here with us tonight. So again, reminder to all those elected official representative offices, if you are here from an office presenting on behalf of that office, or you're presenting any elected office, please put your title so we can know you are here and we can acknowledge you throughout the meeting, and you can speak during the public comment section. Okay, so my report today is 2 things. Want to thank my council members, all of you, for your hard work and dedication to CEC28 and to our district. Last year was a great year. We did so much. We accomplished so many things, and we hit the ball running from September as a new council. You were new council members who were elected to our board, but you were not a new parent. You were a new member to this platform, but you were not a new member to activism and community work, and all of you did a great job. Really, coming along and tagging along and getting acclimated really quickly. And you see very quickly, CEC28 gets work done. We are very active. I want to thank you all for doing so. And this 2024 is our new beginning of a new semester, a new year, and we have so much more work to do. I am reporting to you all from India. It's very early here in the morning, so if my Wi-Fi comes in, comes out, and I leave the meeting, it's not by intention, but by accident if the Wi-Fi kicks me out. But I'm here. Tonight also I'm presenting a resolution dedicated to anti-Semitism, and our council members and you, the public, had a chance to view those links, and we'll be voting on that tonight to pass, if we pass that resolution. And we have another resolution tonight to pass about anti-hate and speech and action in our district that Councilmember Simone Dornbach is sponsoring, and we'll also be discussing that and voting on that. You should have those links, and you should have seen those links in your emails or on our website to view those resolutions before we go ahead and vote on those 2 tonight. So without further ado, we are going to get started. At this point in time, I would like to welcome our acting superintendent. I would like to say, like last month, we had a candidate meeting for our candidates who want to be our superintendent. Then we also had the C37 meeting with Dr. Blake and the other candidate, and those things are final. We're just waiting right now on the DOE actually to give us the final word on who our superintendent will be for District 28, which will come very soon. But in the meantime, we have an amazing leader in our midst, and he is no other than Dr. Blake, who's been doing a great job, and we are so happy to welcome him tonight to be our presenter, the first one. Dr. Blake, go for it.
Thank you. So let's say good night to all and welcome. So in terms of the presentation, as I said, we are one District 28, and of course, I want to take the opportunity to say that we discourage misanthrope and elevate philanthrope. That is, misanthropy is a great hater of mankind, and being a philanthropist is a great lover of mankind. So we want to elevate that, the love, eliminate the hate. All right, so welcome So I just want to wish everyone a happy start, wishing you all a year ahead that is as bright and helpful as the rising sunshine. So I just want to start on a very positive note that will frame our year as in 2024. The community, as we said in our mission statement, that we celebrate our differences and we understand that woven into these differences is the knowledge that offer us unlimited possibility to learn and to expand our knowledge and our commitment to all humanity, as I said before. And in our community, we are a diverse community, diverse in terms of opinions. However, our oneness is around wanting the common things, right? Wanting every single scholar to excel throughout District 28. And of course, we can get there if we continue to work together. So that's what we want to celebrate and elevate. In terms of what's happening on the district, in terms of information, we're talking about pivot to remote. Of course, we're anticipating inclement weather. So this is timely. The DOE, in the event of a snowstorm or emergency preparedness event, that we will have the schools ready to pivot to remote, which is to allow all our scholars to be able to have uninterrupted learning at home. So the DOE has asked that all schools have an operational plan in place by January 12th, next week. The good news is that District 28 is in a very good position when we did our analysis in preparation for pivot to remote instruction, right? So based on our current data, we are in need of a few additional devices to ensure that every student will have access to a connected device. And we are actively working on securing those additional devices. Our elected officials are very helpful and other sources that we're able to source these devices from. We want to thank our principals on board tonight. Many of them are not, but our school staff, our students and families for your cooperation and collaboration making this a successful process. So we are in a very good stance when it comes to our getting our youngsters ready to pivot to remote. And what that really means, just a little word on that, is that the schools will provide the devices to the students in the event of an announcement or an impending school closure based on those events that we mentioned before. Why is this not going? Got stuck right here, I don't know why it's not moving along. See if we can go forward now. All right, so next thing, of course, Sam will be speaking about maybe in his presentation. It's about the Gamma system. That is the DOE tool designed to help monitor child's progress, to increase their ability to stay informed and connected directly with our teachers and administrators while keeping the child or the children personal information as safe as possible. So it's a messaging application system that offers multiple communication methods, such as email, SMS, text, robocalls to provide stock messages with customization capabilities, which will allow for messages in multiple languages, automatically pulls parent contact information from the system in ATS, and offers reports functionality, and which will be made available to us. And the long and short of it is that we are adopting this system in District 28, which is a DOE tool designed to quickly reach families in a case of an emergency. So we could disseminate and reach the information quickly as it happens to all our families. The December Principals Meet conference was very memorable. We were visited by our chancellor, as pictures indicate, and they're very pleased with the leadership, of course, and the progress that we're making in District 28. So those are some of the highlights of the district. We have junior high school 157 family learning walk. Very important with the families participate in the walkthrough. So this is an open door policy where we invite our families to be engaged with us in the learning of our students. So those are some of the pictures taken from that event. And of course, District 28 event, we had the seasonal event where we were able to about 1,000 pairs of shoes. Obviously, some of them are still to be handed out. And when we started that event, at PS50, the Winter Wonderland, and we just gathered some over 1,000 book bags as well that will be presented to families free of cost. And I'm making sure it's equitably distributed. Our season of generosity continues with a generous donation, as it's just talk about the 1,600 book bags and hygiene kits for our newest New Yorkers and neediest families. We'll be giving details to the schools as to how that will be disseminated. We'd like to thank Mr. Wayne Harris, Senior Director from the Student to Temporary Housing and Foster Care, for partnering with us and with our generous donors to help support our students and families within the District 28 community. So great things are going on for the community. These will be delivered in the coming weeks. And as I said before, I'll be giving more specific details as to how this can be done. And I've also been very busy liaising with the community board, 12 different leaders in the districts, so as we could get the resources to help all our schools in the district. So those are some of the pictures that capture those events. And as I said, tonight I want to make it very brief because I want to share the time with Sam Abassi from the safety division to speak a little more about. So this will be a part of my presentation as well because he represents us at the district level. So I want to thank you very much for your attention to these details. And of course, I'm an open door policy. My door is available and you're welcome, parents, at any time to call or to even visit. So I want to thank you. And thanks so much to my principals, my teachers who are on board. So together we're making it as a community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Blake, so much for all your work. And again, we want to thank you, and we hope and we wish that you do become, where you need to be in our district. And thank you for all the work that you're doing so far as acting superintendent. We appreciate your dedication, commitment to this district, and it is seen and it's felt. Thank you so much. Again, we'll have Mr. Abbas later on in the presentations. So at this point in time, friends, I'm going to present my resolution, only because the Wi-Fi is okay here right now for now. So we're going to work with that. So this resolution, if you can share on the screen, please. So Dr. Blake, if you could stop sharing, that would be great. And then we can share that resolution. That'd be great as soon as we can. Thank you so much. And this was sent out to the community before. So to everyone who is present here and to the council members, we're going to be talking about this resolution, and then we're going to vote on this resolution after. So this resolution is being written up and is calling to condemn anti-Semitism in District 28. I am the sponsor of this resolution, and we have two co-sponsors. We have Mr. Luzau and Kalyanaram Gurumurthy, the council member, and they are also co-sponsors. And basically, this resolution, can you scroll up a little bit? That's not too much, please. A little bit less, lower down to the beginning, please. There it is. So this resolution here, it's calling that whereas anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews, rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, towards Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. Again, this was sent out in the community here for your viewing pleasure. And it speaks about the incidents that happened here in District 28, specifically at Hillcrest High School. And also it talks about the conflict between Israel and Hamas that's happening in the Middle East, and the rise of anti-Semitism discussions and hatred being spewed around the world, and also especially in D28. And at the very bottom of this resolution, it speaks about, can we go to the resolution where the the final part, please. And we are calling it be it resolved at bottom here. A little bit more, please. There it is. So therefore be it resolved that Community Education Council 28, CEC28, and equivocally condemns anti-Semitism whenever and wherever it occurs and stands with all families of District 28 against anti-Jewish hate. That CEC28 condemns the way Hillcrest High School protest against a Jewish teacher. Was the way it was handled by the school administration, which caused school disruptions, school property damage, and endangered the welfare and safety of all of the Jewish faculty member, and various other items here is calling for us to establish as a council that we stand with our Jewish community, we stand with families who are being affected, and we are saying no, we don't stand. We don't stand for this, and we are against any form of hate speech towards Jewish families. And lastly, in this resolution, we are also asking for the DOE to provide information and knowledgeable information for teachers and educators to have to educate our families in our district, and to have accountability of that, also to have a timeline when they will start giving out that information about the Jewish history, and also to a kind of an accountability of how they are tracking how this is being disseminated in our community. So at this point in time, we'll leave this open for the council members. You have 1 minute or so if you would like to speak, to make any comments towards this resolution. Council members, Latifa, can you just do a roll call really quickly to ask any council member if they have anything to say about this? You all had a chance, like 2 weeks, to review this, to give feedback, to review these and give comments. So, and then right after that, we'll have a vote on this.
First Vice President Luzal.
I support the resolution.
So basically what we're asking at this point in time, council members, is do you have any feedback at this point in time? It's not a vote, so it's either you have a feedback or you don't have any feedback. So just yes or no if you have a feedback.
The feedback is just one thing, you know, I want to mention that the first paragraph is a international, recognized a consensus of a definition of anti-Semitism, which I think on no footer of the resolution, but I just want to bring it up to say that's very important. It's not just a random definition, but it's an international consensus definition. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Second Vice President Narun Swapna.
Good evening, everyone.
Do you have any feedback, Nuran, on this, yes or no? I'm not hearing you.
Good evening, everyone.
So while they figure out this sound thing, just so you all are aware, we do have an issue at the district office.
Oh,
Go try now.
Online. Yeah, yours. Are you able to hear me?
It's perfect. Go ahead, speak right in. It's good.
Oh, okay.
All right, you can speak and you can talk.
Are you able to hear me? Sorry.
Yes, it's better.
It's better?
Yes, go ahead. Perfect. That's perfect. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm American, and I believe in protecting everyone within our border, despite any religious difference. So our priority is protecting every family within our within our district. So that's what I wanted to add to this resolution, as you know, that was my feedback. So
You say
as-
you wanted to add that, so are you saying that is not
No, no.
represented there?
no,
Because
I believe, like, you know, we're all American and we should all protect one another so that we can coexist, you know, and create a better future for all of our children.
okay, thank you. So, I will just go ahead and say this, Natifa, that does anyone else have any feedback? Because you all had a chance to view this for several days now, so let's not waste time. Does any council member have anything to add to this resolution?
So do I go through the roll call or not? Because I already started, so I'll just call the name and then they
Yeah,
just say yes
go
or
ahead.
no.
Yeah.
All right, so I was at second vice president. I'll skip myself and come back. Treasurer, Utah Cheng. Any comments? Yes or no?
Very quick comment. Basically, I don't have a whole lot of time to review this, but I like the general direction it provides. Although I feel like we should take out some of the commentaries regarding some how to define facts, etc. But what we should emphasize is on the keeping the community together and reject violence. And that's my quick comment.
Okay, Member Jalen is absent. Member Lisa. Any
Mute. I'm unmuting. I've seen so many versions, so I'm kind of confused right now. This is the first time I'm reading the final one. So I have no comment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Member Quentin Mezzatine.
Kind of with Julie. We have a lot of different versions, and I'm totally supporting of anti-hate. And I definitely want to table it and go over it so we could all get on the same page with this. So
I disagree. I think you all had many times. We did have it in many versions, but we are all on the same email thread and we are all viewing it. And council members did have ample time to review this, so I don't agree in tabling this at all.
yeah,
Member Simone Dornbach.
I just wanted to say thank you to Vija for letting me do some edits and additions. And that's all. Thank you.
Member Brianna Alicia. Member GK Kalia Naram.
Yeah, the principle is not that one. You have to look at the text to the meeting, right? This way.
While she fixes GK, Tanya went.
No comments.
Natifa, we didn't hear anyone, and
No, we were trying to unmute. The GK, can you speak? My computer is unmuted.
Okay, so I'll speak.
Can you hear GK?
yes, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, and I endorse and support this resolution. Can you hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, we
So
can hear
I
you.
have-
Please go ahead.
Okay, I have a couple of editorial suggestions, and that begins with the first paragraph. And maybe we can add a sentence at the very beginning to sharpen it and to make it a little more objective. And that would say something to the effect that there exists a working definition along with examples of anti-Semitism adopted by the United States and 30 member countries of the Holocaust, International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, or we can say 30 countries. So that exists a working definition, we can point to that. That's one suggestion. The other is in paragraph 4. little bit of nitpicking, but nevertheless, I don't know if we need that parenthetical clause due to highly, what was a highly
Yeah.
charged, emotionally charged, that particular parenthetical phrase, hanging phrase, maybe not quite. Listen, finally, the final paragraph before resolution, one that talks about the demography and certain areas, the Jewish community including large number. I think that is somewhat redundant because we go to say this, what we say, even if there's only one Jewish community. Because, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter the majority or minority. So I think those are my three suggestions. One is to add that there is an accepted working definition. That's in paragraph 1. I think paragraph 4 or something that emotionally charged debate. I think that's not necessary. And the
I
final
got that.
part-
I got that. GK, I got your remarks. My question
Okay.
to you will be that, are those the last two comments you have about the parts that you want to suggest? Can we live with the document the way it is now? And can we just edit the first one to say there's a working definition at the top? And we can move forward with the resolution?
That is, yeah, the second and the third are not in the critical path. They just make it more
Okay.
elegant. But if you add the first one,
Okay,
that portion, thank you.
thank you. So can we make that edit on the resolution, please? Latifa, you gotta go, sorry.
Okay. Did I miss anybody else? I'm sorry, Simone had a question, what was, go ahead.
I would like to respond to GK. On the resolution, when you click on the footnote, there is a hyperactive link and it leads directly to the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. So it is basically, I linked it up with the United States government page, but when you click there, it links you to the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. So it is in there, it's just not worded.
So GK, with that feedback, are you okay with living with it the way it is now? We're not hearing GK, sorry.
So I said, why not move it from the footnote to the body? It'll have some more salience, obvious. We begin with that. It makes it sharper and objective that there is a working definition.
Okay,
makes it
so can we just, feedback taken? Latifa, are you able to change that for us, please, Latifa?
I don't have the edits on it. I'm not the
Oh,
one
Simone,
who's.
you do. Simone, you have the document, correct?
I'm sorry, can we vote on if we make the changes? I would like to move on. We don't have time to discuss this.
I didn't get to comment yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
my comments are a little bit different. I am in support of speaking out against anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-Black racism, anti-Asian hate, and all manners of bias. However, I do have some concerns with the resolution, in particular, the specific way that it uses the Hillcrest incident. I am personally satisfied with the way that administration has responded to that. I physically attended the meeting that was related to it and observed not just the chancellor, but also the administration, the staff, the students, in terms of how they were speaking on there. I also noticed quite a number of the media people who have been really highlighting the issue and making it much larger than it is, leave as soon as they have said what is in there. So with the resolution as listed with that specific part related to that incident, which seems to be ostracizing a particular community, making people who are not part of it, who are less than 10% of the school and who have been dealt with and are being dealt with, I have a problem with that. And I also personally felt a little bit affronted that having spoken up and saying that I supported the chancellor's response to this, that I was called anti-Semitic and lots of other things. In that part, I am not against the resolution. I am against the way that it is and do not have a proper edit for it. So for this particular resolution, I would be abstaining.
Okay, so I think, yeah, I want to move forward with the resolution. I think we had a lot of time. GK, you sent in your feedback like this afternoon for us, and I can this move. I think I agree. I would like, as the sponsor of this resolution, I would like to move forward with it the way it is, and we can do a roll call on the way that it is. And again, if you feel your edits or your comments are not being acknowledged, you can vote against or to abstain, and then we can move, in a different direction. But at this point in time, everyone had ample time to review this. Everyone had ample time to send feedback so it can be put into the resolution. So at this point in time, I would like to present this resolution for a vote. I want to make a motion to vote on this resolution.
I second.
Okay, the recording secretary, can you please do a roll call to council members? Your vote will be yes for the resolution, or no, or abstain. Okay, you can do a roll call.
First Vice President Luzau,
Yes, I support.
Second Vice President Narun Swapna,
I support.
Recording Secretary Lewis, abstain.
Treasurer Lau. I'm sorry, Treasurer
I think we just time traveled. I abstain as well.
Member Jalen, absent.
Member
I abstain.
Member Quentin Mezitin,
I support.
Member Simone Donbach,
I support.
Member Adriana Lissier,
Will be abstaining.
Member GK Kalyanaram,
I support.
Member Tanya Went,
I support.
President Vijay Ramjatan.
I support.
Okay, let's get a tally.
Three conference of 7 days.
Hold on. Quentin and support. Okay, there are 7 votes, so the resolution passes.
Okay, I thank you all for supporting this resolution as we move forward with this. Again, there's another resolution on the board that will be voted on later on tonight. Also, this resolution will be what happens to our resolutions. They are sent up to the Department of Education, and then they will give us a response based on our asks. And this will be on our website and posted and sent to all of our elected officials as well. So at this point in time, I would like to have the chat discontinued. Can we please have the chat feature disabled? So while we take care of that, I want to remind the community here that the chat feature is a privilege. It's not an access point to spew hate towards any members of the council or to anyone else in the community. And once our families start spewing and start saying things that will start creating this discomfort in the community and our meeting, we will shut the chat down. So just be aware of that we do have the right to take this chat down. Latifa, is it down?
It is left to only go to host if needed.
Beautiful.
Do you want
Okay, so this point, thank you so much. So we have a speaker list. That's the list we're going to work with, and then from there we'll just take it from there. At this point in time, we're going to be having our first presenter. His name is Rohan Narayan, and he will tell you more about who he is and which office he represents. And Rohan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. My name is Rohan Narayan. I'm a education liaison at the New York State Division of Consumer Protection. There are some slides sent, and I'm very, very limited on time. So I want to run through my presentation very quickly I timed it at 5.5 minutes. So I'll just begin. I'll go right into it, and I'll say the slides by number. So Ms. Simangal, if you or anyone back there, if you could just load up the presentation, I'll get right into it. So the first slide is our introductory slide. It just states preventing and responding to child identity theft. There was a specific reason we chose this workshop presentation tonight, mainly because of what's been going on in the realm of ID theft. So I'll head over to the second slide, and I'm not too sure if the slides are up, but I'll just have some faith that they'll get up there. Perfect. Okay, great. So slide number 2, it's with all the hexagons. You'll see a textbook. That's what we do. We're part of the outreach and education team. And so we'll get to slide 3, perfect, which is the agenda. And it's a very quick agenda. First up is what is child ID theft? Then we'll cover how does it happen? And then we'll end with some ways to prevent, detect, and resolve child ID theft if it does occur. So we'll scroll down, we'll get to slide number 4. And slide number 4 is what is child ID theft? Child identity theft is when someone takes a child's personal information and uses it to get benefits or to falsely apply for a loan. Thieves, scammers might use your child's social security number, name and address, or date of birth to apply for a credit card. It does happen. So slide number 5, why are children targeted? There's no way for companies to verify a name and birth date attached to a child's unused SS number. Sadly, thieves can attach a clean social security number to any name and birth date that they desire. Children are 35 times more likely to become victims of ID theft than adults. So we'll just let that sink in. We'll head to the next slide, to slide number 6. And what is the impact of child ID theft? Child ID theft is expensive and detrimental. It takes longer to resolve and fix than fraud against adults. And there's some long-term implications. It can damage a child's credit history and their reputation. Second, it could lead to a lot of financial losses and missed opportunities. So slide 7, here are some warning signs to look for, some red flags. If your child has been pre-approved for credit, that's one thing to look out for. Has your child received any communication from the IRS? That's a big red flag to look for. If there are any collection calls or notices of past due bills in your child's name, that's very concerning. And then last but not least, if there's already a credit file in your child's name, we'll talk about that a bit later, and that's very concerning. So next slide. How exactly does child ID theft happen? And this happens through phishing. Not fishing for fish in a lake, but someone phishing for your son's or daughter's personal identification, such as their ID card, maybe your bill or your mortgage statement going through your trash. It's called dumpster diving. Some scammers, or they call them social engineers, are professionals at this type of what they consider now almost an art form, and they go through your social media, especially for kids. We want to make note, a lot of times unsupervised children are at a higher risk for ID theft, and then a lot of scammers are going after children just to get their personal information on social media. Next, ID theft can happen through a data breach. We've heard that Equifax recently had a data breach, which was very concerning, as well as Capital One Bank. And then last but not least, hackers can target your child's devices. So that's another way it could happen. Next slide, slide number 9. We've got a little illustration here. Sadly, who are these thieves? It's right there on the screen. It's parents, guardians, and family members. Through the research we've just done, these are who they are. And they do it to overcome hardships or just extend their credit options. You can actually see it in the news. It happens very, very often. So what are some ways to prevent, detect, and resolve it? We'll talk very quickly about prevention. Always ask why and how your child's social security number will be used, and only give it out when absolutely necessary. Keep birth certificates, social security numbers, and other sensitive information locked away. That could be a hard copy or digital, and then shred paper with sensitive information instead of just throwing it in the trash. Second way to prevent we'll see here slide number 11. Thank you so much for the person handling the slides. You're doing an amazing job. Set reasonable boundaries around technology and monitor online activities. If your child is under 13, make sure that they register for the sites and applications that they use. Secure your child's cell phone. It's a no-brainer, but it happens. Look out for location settings, screen times, and set passcodes. In terms of online games, ensure kids play in disguise. That is what we wrote. Have them play in disguise. Do not share personal information on gaming accounts. Watch out for internet connected toys. That's a big thing. Be present when these toys are set up. And for social media, again, make sure all social media accounts are set to private. And then ways to detect child ID theft. Ask for your credit report and also for your child's credit report under www.annualcreditreport.com. If no credit report exists, ask for a manual search of your child's credit report and their social security number. And then there's a note here to make note of. Checking for a credit report under your child's name, SS number, and birth date is not always enough because thieves can be very creative and use a social security number for your child's other name. They could give your child another name, which is very sneaky. So you want to be very careful when you file for your child's credit report under annualcreditreport.com. Last but not least, we'll get to resolving it. So slide 13, if this does happen, we recommend to file an ID theft victim report with the Financial Trade Commission, with the Federal Trade Commission, with the FTC. If you notice fraudulent activities on your child's credit report, don't waste time. Contact the 3 credit bureaus immediately. We'll get into that in the next slide. And then contact every business where your child's information was misused and ask to close the fraudulent account. So we'll get to the next slide. We'll focus on not the orange box and not the dark blue box, but the light blue in the middle, step 2. Here are the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Those are the 3 bureaus you want to contact. And so last but not least, we'll get to consumer protection resources. And right after that, you can see here, just really make note of our toll-free number. It's 1-800-697-1220. My personal information, my personal cell number, and my email is in the chat in case you need it. But refer to that toll-free number. It's open through 8:30 to 4:30. That's our social media information as well. That's our website, dos.ny.gov/consumer protection. You can find us on Facebook, and then you can find us on what is now called X, aka Twitter. Thank you so much. That's our last slide. It has our email, again, our toll-free number, and President Ramjatan, I know you said that you'll take questions at the end. So thank you very much, everyone, and all the best with the resolution passing, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rohan. I think you're the first person who actually did 7 minutes, literally. You're on time. You timed yourself. It was perfect. Thank you so much. And this is so much relevant to our community, especially in today's world that's happening. And it was a great resource that you came in today and presented. So thank you for being here. And we hope to have you at least once a year to present for the families at our meeting. We really appreciate that. And if your slide deck, is it okay to share your slide deck to the community on our webpage?
Yes, my pleasure. Yes.
As well?
Yes.
Perfect. So to our community on our webpage, CEC28.org is where we'll have these slides up for your consideration and to get information about if you have any suspected child identity theft or anything, questions you have, we can do so. So at this point in time, we're going to have our next presenter. And thank you again, Rohan, for being here. We really appreciate your time and your commitment. Thank you so much. Our next presenter is, as a result of a parent who reached out to me and asked me to get information about this topic. So we sadly live in a world where there are shootings in schools that happen randomly, and gun violence is on the rise. And a lot of times we drop off our kids to school and we don't know. So we don't know 100% what's going to happen during that day. And in case of an emergency at a school, what is the role of a parent? What is the role of the principal? And what is happening in that school? The parent who reached out to me said she did not understand what is her role. Like if there is a fire in the building or there's an active shooter, God forbid, at a school, And will the parents be notified? Will they be told what's happening? Where do they go? Who do they contact? What's the process of this that the New York City public schools have? Is there a standard operating procedure? So I reached out to the district office and thank you to Dr. Blake and Dr. Hall and the entire team for working in concert to have our borough safety director for Queens South. His name is Mr. Sam Abbasi, and he will be presenting about this very specific topic. And again, want to reiterate that this is a direct feedback that a parent gives to us, that she wants to hear more information about this. And here we are delivering what you're asking for. So for all the families, what is your role in an emergency in a school? Mr. Abbasi, your turn. Go for it.
Hi, everybody. So thanks for having me, VJ. It is such a pleasure to support this great district, full of great leaders, and the superintendent and deputy, Dr. Blake and Dr. Hall. They are just two amazing leaders, along with all the principals in this district. I feel very fortunate to have this team with us to support children and families in this district. And I just wanted to say that first and foremost. I'm going to share some slides. Just give me one moment. Let me. Okay, everybody can see slide. Give me a thumbs up. All right, great. Okay, so this is kind of a couple of things from our Division of Information and Technology, who came up with the Gamma app, as Dr. Blake stated earlier in the presentation. But I wanted to highlight some of the expectations that we centrally, Department of Education, have for our schools, and that is to communicate with our parents about situations that involve our general response protocol actions or our emergency communication. When something would happen in a school, such as a fire that may cause an evacuation or a relocation, or a danger that is outside the building, there would be a shelter in, and we would expect an immediate communication to the families. Or, God forbid, there was a danger inside the school. That would be a lockdown, either a soft or a hard. These are specific terminology that we use. And in this presentation, I'm going to just go through a little bit about what that communication might look like. But VJ reached out with that parent concern to the district looped me in, and I think connecting everybody to understand that we do have some of these tools, and we do train our schools. Every school has a building response team, which is a team of trained individuals to support the school community in an emergency. And we have school safety agents in every building. We also partner with our local precincts, and our principals meet with their precinct commanders weekly. There is a lot of communication with our partners in law enforcement. This integration that we have developed is to develop a shorter timeline of response. And basically, we mitigate the effects of an emergency by ensuring our staff is trained appropriately and that they have time to develop their systems. So an overview of the system shows that, you know, as Dr. Blake stated before, emails, robocalls, text message, and in a really, a click of a button will allow the principal to communicate with the school community exactly what's happening in the school and provide important information to ensure that people don't, when you ask what the parent role is, people don't come to a building and put themselves in danger. So if we're in shelter in, and people came to the building would be locked, and you would be basically stuck outside with a danger in the immediate area. So that communication, along with expectations that schools speak to the parents and have whole town halls to ensure that parents know what the GRP actions are. Every parent in this district should have received a letter from their school explaining the emergency drills and the GRP actions at the beginning of this year. So there's a lot of communication, but none of this is going to be any good if the information that the school has about the contacts and emergency contacts for parents, if those numbers and emails and methods are not updated annually. So we need to ensure that we're collecting the proper information and parents know how to access their NYC Schools account, because these systems are integrated with those accounts and are able to communicate with people very, very in a sure way to those types of methods. I mean, schools also have additional methods like Dojo or some sort of app that they communicate with, but this messaging app that we've developed with the DOE and our Division of Information Technology is getting more advanced as we go, and there'll be a mobile app feature for parents and coming in the future, and these type of things to communicate in the moment are very important. So you can end up getting attendance notifications. It's integrated with ATS, so even if you have multiple children, you'll get either attend multiple schools. If your schools opt into that feature, that you'll be able to tell which student was absent or what the attendance feedback is of any given child, as well as which school is communicating about a particular emergency. So that would look like this: the DBN. So every parent should know the DBN that their child attends. So this would be 28, and it would be Q, and then the DBN of the school. So when you hear DBN, it's district, borough, school number. The district would always be 28, the borough would always be Q, and then the 3-digit number would be the number of your child's school. The message would, look something like this: 13K 430 is in a hard lockdown. The NYPD is addressing the emergency. Everyone is safe. Do not come to the school at this time. And there'll be a link. Once you click on that link, it would actually open up the full version of the message, and it would explain why you shouldn't come to the school, as well as a link to a in-depth description of the general response programs. This would be an initial notification that would be followed by an update from your school leadership. Again, we do have an expectation that schools communicate with parents when there is an emergency in real time, and we have some vetted messages to ensure that schools can do that. But everybody should just be mindful that information that comes from the school in an emergency is going to be what can be shared and what is basically what is cleared to be shared. So there is never going to be information that is shared about an individual that's specific to an individual, but we want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what's happening at the school, how it's being addressed, and what we need parents to do. That's the presentation for this evening, and I wanted to leave time to take questions, but I understand that we're operating in a little bit of a different way, where questions will come to the district at the end. And if there's something that you guys reach out to the district with, I'm always happy to answer, so that they could provide you with any type of information that will help. Again, I wish you guys continued success. I think Dr. Blake, he's the guy, and he's got this. And VJ, enjoy the partnership that we've had so far as well. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Sam, for this amazing presentation, and for agreeing to be here to do this for our families. And I requested, and I'm going to ask you again, that, and Dr. Blake and I will speak more about this, that if each school community can have a town hall-like meeting or a conference with all the families on a yearly basis, or by semester, every semester, whichever works best, to inform families about this, what is expected of them, and how their kids are going to be cared for, and also the drills, right? So I feel like I know families are notified of like kids are having a fire drill, have to hide under their desks, all these things. I think like that could be very traumatic for kids to do this all the time. So it's going to be good if families are engaged, at least to know like what kids are experiencing in school, what is expected of them, and we can have that across our district. And my goal is to really have this system implemented across the city. So all districts in the city have this system where families are aware of what to do from a school level. What are your thoughts on that?
So, thanks again for sharing that. I think we kind of briefly touched on that when we met originally. So, at each school is mandated to have a town hall, a school safety committee town hall that is open to parents. Annually, there is one that is an open meeting to all parents and community members. And topics such as this, like emergency communication and anything that parents might have a concern about, are something that should be raised. I also recommend that schools engage parents in town halls that are not just at the time of the school safety committee meeting, but at the beginning of each year to discuss school safety procedures. New York City mandates that schools communicate that we do conduct emergency drills. They tell them what it is we do, as well as an explanation of each GRP action. That's General Response Protocol. We do not make any students hide under desks, thankfully. We do have procedures in the schools for various GRP actions, and we are mindful of the impact that could have on children.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your commitment. And again, we're going to continue meeting, you and myself, Dr. Blake and team, so we can just continue this amazing work that you're doing in our district and making sure, most importantly, that parents are aware of your work, that they're aware of the what you have in place already.
And thank you for that. But I do want to highlight that the principals in this district are amazing. They reach out every day with things that are going on, and they're doing what they have to do to keep the children safe, because I think when they accept children in our schools, we like to think that, it's as if our children are attending these schools. So we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable, everybody's child goes home safely, and all of our staff members go home safely as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I agree with you. Our principals are amazing. So now our last presentation tonight, my dear friends, will be Mietta Pearson, and she's from ACS. Again, these topics that we are bringing at this meeting is to ease families and parents in this process. So a lot of times when families hear about ACS, it's often the case where children are being removed or some adverse situations happening that is very scary, right? Because homes are being broken sometimes, or kids are being taken away from their families, or maybe not. But the point of having Mietta Pearson from ACS present is to just start having these conversations with families to prepare you, and also to have a prevention in any way in our district, so you are aware of who ACS is, what they do, and if you're involved in ACS, how can you get a resolution that is happy for yourself and your family and for the children. So without further ado, we have Mietta Pearson from ACS who is presenting. Mietta, go for it.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me here. Unfortunately, I'm having a little bit of difficulty, so my camera is acting up and I'm calling in. So with me, I have one of our managers, Patrice Cox, and then we have Jackie Frederica, who's our clinical consultant manager. So my team, we are located in Queens, and we are in Zone C, which covers CD 9, 10, and 14, which are Richmond Hill, Howard Beach, Woodhaven, and Far Rockaway. So I want to start off by just letting you, indicating that our agency's mission is to ensure the safety and well-being of New York City children. So I want to, we operate on 16 different locations citywide, and we have our emergency, which is ECS, Children's Service Program, which works on the weekends and in the evenings. And then each borough offices have individual sites, just depending on the CD. So I want to just go give a brief overview of the intake process for ACS. So when a case is called into the state central registry, it is forwarded to the borough office. At that point, there are two tracks that the case can be assigned to. We have the CARES track and we have the investigative track. So first I'm gonna talk about the investigative track, and then I'm going to focus mostly on the CARES track, which is what our agency is really gearing and trying to ensure that families are working in that process. So the investigative process is, the investigation is initiated upon a report to the SCR. The intake process varies. Clearances are done, such as ATS clearances, public assistance, community district assignments. So at that point, we will, once the unit receives the case, we have a pre-investigative conference with the supervisors or the CPS. We review for prior history, and we also have a consultation with the ICs, which is the investigative consultant at our office. A CPS worker is dispatched within 24 hours, depending on the time frame the report is received. Our emergency staff may be the one responding to the home after 5, well into the hours, until the night. A series of interviews are conducted. The source of the report, which is the person who called in the report, the parents, the children, the service providers, neighbors, school staff, pediatrician, mental health providers, etc., are contacted throughout the investigation. We utilize family team conferences throughout the investigation in order to obtain additional information about the family. We have services that we also discuss with the family if it's warranted. And an investigation usually takes up to 60 days to make a determination. And at that time, a determination is either unfounded or indicated. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the CARES approach, which is it's a collaborative assessment response, engagement, and support, which is what CARES stands for. It was formerly known as FAR, which is the Family Assessment Response Program. So with this program, so in order for a case to come to CARES at the intake, an assessment is made by our applications team. So based on the case, if the case is considered to be a serious case, which involves sex abuse, it could involve excessive corporal punishment, any case that is considered a high risk will not go underneath the CARES approach. However, if we have a case that's called in dealing with, let's say, educational neglect or lack of supervision, those cases will be screened for CARES. At that time, CARES is a voluntary program, which means that we, the agency, reach out to the family to let them know that a case has been called in and that we would like to utilize the CARES approach to work with the family. The family has to be in agreement to work with the CARES approach. So once the worker goes out and we explain what CARES means. So with CARES is we allow the family to be involved in the decision making, in the service making process. The family gets to decide who we contact, who we don't contact. So the family has to agree. They have to agree to work with CARES. And believe it or not, with this type of program, there's a lot of families who will say no, but they're not aware that if they work with the agency and we are able to implement services, there is no determination at the end of this investigation. It allows the family to have a larger role in determining what services will benefit their children, and more likely than not, that family will view ACS as more as helping other than the stigma that ACS has, all right? The family is in control of the process. They determine what they feel that their family is in need of. And from there, our agency will provide services. We have a plethora of services that we can provide. And at the end, there's no determination. It's not unfounded, it's not indicated. It's just a service type of case. And that is the opportunity that clients will, our families will be able to determine. But it's only offered for non-high risk cases that we've identified. So all cases that come to us are CARES eligible until they are screened. Once we screen it, and then it goes down what the track that is determined. Sometimes we can go out on a regular investigation, and based on the information that we learn, if we know that it's completely false, there's the family has identifying needs, we can retract that investigation into a CARES investigation. So that family is not penalized and there's no determination, and we offer services to work with the family. So I just wanted to touch briefly on the other services that ACS provides for families. We do walk-ins, right? We have our central located offices at Archer. Families can walk in if they've identified that they need any sort of services. At that time, a clearance is done to determine if the case is active. If the family does not have any active cases with ACS, then we will open up a service case, and then that case is assigned to a unit to work with the family. We also do non-walk-in cases, which is COI, which is court-ordered investigation. At times, depending on custodial issues, the courts may ask us to provide a report, go out and investigate. ACS is involved in a lot of custody issues because a lot of allegations are made. And so we go out and then we interview the children, we interview the parents, and then we provide the courts with a report. We also have ICPCs, which is other states requesting ACS to assist. We also have homemaking services that we also offer families who are in need, right? And so with that, once you walk in, we also make an assessment and a determination is made as to whether the family has an open case. And then from there, we will work with the family to try to provide the services that are needed. Okay. I'm not sure if Ms. Cox or Ms. Frederica are able to speak. Hello? Hello? Can you?
Ms. Cox should be able to unmute.
Yeah.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yes, so like Ms. Pearson said, we have the various different services that we offer. Preventive services is also another agency that that we utilize, but there's multiple agencies that can service the families. And we try to fit the family's needs based on, what concerns we have, what concerns the families have. In addition to the preventive services, we do offer, car seats, strollers, baby formula. We do a lot of donation of food to families, so we try to provide the families with all the resources possible to avert any disruption within the family.
So also I wanted to add, every case that we go out on, we provide an information package to the families. That information package also, in that information package is all food pantries within the community. Parent advocate is also included there, and how to reach, a parent advocate or an advocate to speak to them around having an ACS case. We are very transparent, and we provide the resource for families to be able to link and speak with individuals. We also provide community-based services for families who are in need in the event that they do not want to work with ACS and they would like to seek services outside of ACS. So all of that is provided for the family at the onset of the investigation. So I think we're done.
Right. Thank you so much. As VJ mentioned, he is in a different time zone, so I am acting in instead for the remainder of his meeting. At this point, we are going to move on to the second. Let me just remove this thing. The second resolution. Yeah. Give us one moment. Let's just fix the sound. Okay, are you able to hear me now without feedback? Whoops. Can someone just unmute and let me know you're hearing me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. So at this point, we are going to move to the second resolution that we had here, discussing anti-Semitism and dealing with hatred resolution. And I'm going to turn it over to Simone. Simone, you're able to share. Following the presentation of this resolution, we will have public comment. As mentioned, we did skip it earlier to afford VJ the opportunity to fully participate.
Okay. So this is the resolution on dealing with hatred, conflict, and violence by honoring, protecting, and respecting human dignity. Whereas we at Community Education Council 28 acknowledge the grief, anguish, outrage, and conflict that many of us are feeling as we try to make sense of the current events in Israel and Gaza and grasp the tragic human toll of the ongoing violent conflict. And whereas New York City Public Schools represents a diverse community with residents from multiple races, ethnicities, and religious groups, and this is especially an agonizing time for our students who identify as Israeli and or Jewish or Palestinian and or Muslim, whose loved ones live in the region. And whereas we have seen a documented increase in anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim and anti-Sikh hate crimes, stoking fear and anguish in these communities, and whereas organizations and communities like ours that work to bring people together can make a real difference and should always try to help students build an understanding rooted in an appreciation for our shared humanity. And whereas we hope for the safety and well-being of all the people of the region and their loved ones around the world. And whereas during this difficult time, it is important to clearly articulate educational goals in our schools, such as promoting empathy, critical thinking, and understanding of global issues in our students, and ensure these objectives align with the values of honoring, protecting, and respecting human dignity. Therefore, be it resolved that CEC28 will come together to honor each other's dignity and to better appreciate each other's humanity. It is one of the greatest callings we have as human beings, and empathizes with students and will try to help those among us who are vulnerable, targeted, and grieving. And it is united in our belief that all children deserve to grow up in safety, health, and freedom, every single one, and acknowledges that we need community now more than ever, and wants all our children to feel safe and seen by the education system at home here in New York City, while at school or in the community. Be it further resolved that CEC28 calls upon the New York City public school system to have zero tolerance for violence, hate crimes, and discrimination of any kind, and unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism and Islamophobia whenever and wherever it occurs. Ensure our schools function as a bastion of support and refuge for all children who have been affected by these tragedies, and teach tolerance, understanding, empathy, and respect human dignity. I would like to mention that there is a similar resolution that has been passed by CEC2. So I don't want to take credit for this. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Simone. At this point, I'm going to do a roll call list of the council members. If you have comments on this resolution, please say yes or no, and then indicate your comments. First Vice President Luzau.
I don't have a comment.
Second Vice President Narun Swapna.
I also don't have a comment.
Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis. No comment. Treasurer Yutao Cheng. Member Jalen, absent. Member Julissa.
I can't unmute. Can you hear? Can you hear? Oh, do I have?
Try now. Try, Julie.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. I don't have any comment, but in the time since the prior resolution and now, I was able to read the two different versions. And I'm sorry, I did support the other one. And I certainly support this resolution. Thanks.
Okay. Member Quentin Mezzatine.
No comment. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's Member Simone Dombach. Member Adriana Lissier.
No comment.
Member GK Kalyanara.
No comment.
Member Tanya West.
No comment.
President Vijay Ramjatan.
No comment.
Okay, at this point, I will, since this is the end of this resolution, I am going to open the actually, before we go to the vote, Vijay, we should do our regular member reports, or because before the public comments. Okay.
Nothing. We could just go ahead to the vote now, because this is after we have the comments for the members. Just the vote for this resolution now.
We're not opening the public comments before the vote. Can
you do that just
okay.
on topic though, right? Only on this specific resolution.
Okay. We didn't do it for the first one. Are we doing it for this? I thought this was the general public comment section. That's why I was asking, should we jump to the members' reports and then the public comments and then the votes?
We can do that. I agree with you.
All right.
Just so the community knows, just so the community is aware why we didn't have the public comment section there. The chat feature, it was becoming a little heated over here, and we want to make sure we maintain what we stand for in this community and this council. So that's the reason why the chat was disabled, and we had to just go for a vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. All right, so we have heard the resolution. We have heard the members' comments or no comment. At this point, we are going to pause, take our regular member reports, and then we'll open the public comment section and finally have a vote on this resolution. All right, so member VJ, I'm gonna kick it back to you just first. Do you have any anything to add, or you already gave your report? So you're fine.
I am good. Thank you.
Okay. First Vice President Luzau.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very quick updates this week. I mean, from last month, there are two schools I'm liaison with. One is the 139, and we have a meeting. A special SLT meeting. Get in. By the superintendent. Because there's the PTA has a strong opinion on the administration. So that's something is still going on, and I think we'll probably need a further discussion. And another thing that also bring up during SLT is the internet access, right? So internet access is considered as a kind of a necessary, equitable issue right now, because I think I believe that's probably because the emergency funding is run out, so they are not giving out the free Wi-Fi and laptop anymore. But a lot of family don't have access to it, so that's causing a lot of problem in some school. When they want, the parents can access Wi-Fi to do some, check on student work and such, and join, virtual meeting, all kind of things. So it become actually a very practical issue. I personally think this is something we can further discussion, but I personally think if that's the case, we should consider, free up some fund. I know the budget is very tight in the DOE, but there, for example, we could roll back the free lunch, right? So I never see the point why someone like me should not, pay for the lunch my child's taken. And also the Wi-Fi and the device also can based on income level and not a kind of universal, like more too generous, in my opinion, in the pandemic times. So that could really, more efficiently use the funding to make those things happen, right? So, and also, that make the free lunch, reduced lunch form more meaningful, because right now a lot of families, they qualify for it, but because they thought it doesn't make a sense, it doesn't make any difference, so they don't fill out, and it impact a lot of other things. It impact the funding allocation, impact admission process. They didn't realize they are in put in disadvantage, because they could have some advantage by declaring low income, but they didn't, right? So those things, we can, bring more detailed discussion, but I think it's a good point to make, that the access to Wi-Fi is a essential, equitable right. It's not just a provision. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Second Vice President Nurun Swapna.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Hope we all have a beautiful, blessing New Year. And so I have a couple of updates. So PS 161 got their front door locked, and I think a couple of other schools around my neighborhood got their front door locked, which is a good thing. And I think everybody's happy to be back in school. Some of the parents have a little bit concerned about the safety within the building, as now they don't have the free access to the building. So I guess we will have to figure that out. The school has to do a little bit more work. And as community member, we all need to spread our knowledge so that these parents are like, welcoming this front door locked policy. And that's all I have for today. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
Thank you, Narun. Next we'll have Treasurer Utah Check.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Happy New Year. Yeah, I don't have too much to report. I know that we have our school capital improvement projects are coming up. I'm partially involved in those process. Hopefully, I did my contribution and help facilitate the process. Meanwhile, yeah, I know there's a lot to do, and we're gonna have impending budget cuts on a lot of resources and a lot of investments. And as Lou mentioned earlier, probably also going to have impact our student internet access, etc. So we really need to stay focused and provide our best advice to help to keep the essential learning tools and resources available, especially for the underprivileged community and members. Yeah. That's my update. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay, I guess it's my turn, for Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis. So in a similar piggyback to Utah's comments, I have been in communication with some of my schools, in particular related to this capital funding. Many of them I did have the opportunity to visit earlier in last period, so not all I was able to see in person this time. But they all wanted to emphasize that in a lot of the previous cycles, they were not considered for some of the funding, although they really needed it. In particular, I wanted to mention IS8, which is on a shared campus with both Yeka and Emerson. 3 schools, they have no schoolyard. And they have been requesting support for this over multiple years. In addition to that, on a topic separate from the particular SCA requests, we raised the issue 2 years ago related to some of the safety issues around there. They have been requesting multiple times for speed bumps because there have been dangerous situations, including either an actual hit or near hit of a child. And it keeps going to a dead end. I know there are quite a number of elected officials and so forth on this part. We have encouraged them to also reach out to like the community boards and so forth. But we're looking for support on that part, as well as dumping. Following a safety town hall a couple years ago, there was increased patrolling by the 103rd Precinct community officers, and the dumping and so forth, and the dangerous situations around that area did decrease. And this was an area not just specific to IS8 and the other 2 schools I mentioned, but also spanning all the way down to PS 4312 and even PS 48. So a lot of the South Jamaica schools, there are a lot of residential areas there, some of them with dead ends and things of that sort, which makes it a prime area for dumping. We are also, again, looking for support to get board electeds and community affairs and so forth to, again, increase the patrol in there, because there's an increase on those kind of a dumpage. As I mentioned, I just mentioned both 40 and 312, which are 2 other of my liaison schools. PS 40's building, which both contain, is an older building. It was built initially as a high school. It was converted into different areas or so forth. However, it has no AC, especially in the common areas, except for a couple smaller classrooms. It is also not an accessible building. Previous requests for things such as an elevator to make it ADA accessible had been denied in the past, and they are looking for 40s requesting ACs in those common areas. They are right outside. They have quite a large number of transient population and special populations, many of them who have asthma and other issues that are sometimes affected by extreme heat. So this is a dire need for them, not just from a cosmetic part, but from a health perspective. 312, being the newest school in the building, is also piggybacking off of the outdated PBX system that is in that school. Those phones are not routing properly. The school was not designed to facilitate two separate main offices that allow for communication with the different things. Multiple times the phones have been down over the years, technicians have been called in, and literally say, give up on it. That there's nothing that can be done. So they're direly in need of a PBX system. Also from just a safety perspective, remember the building is not ADA compliant, and communication internally and with families is a huge hassle. On the other hand, one of my other schools, which is a shared one, Mel's, is also direly asking for support to increase their update their science labs. They do expeditionary learning. It's a big part of the project-based learning, and so those are some of the things that are happening in here. On a general community basis, we've also been there's also been concern about some of the mid-year changes in faculty. It's great for a lot of the administrators and so forth who have been promoted or so forth in the middle of the year, but it's very disruptive to the school communities. And a lot of these are sometimes in process for multiple months. We understand that, there isn't a set timeline, but there is a request for sometimes DOE to maybe be a little bit more sensitive in terms of when these appointments are made, so that it's not as disruptive to the communities, leaving many without that support during that time. I mean, case in point, at my personal school, where my children are, we have a new AP starting on Monday. So it was a very chaotic last period. And there are other schools that are in similar positions, including Yeka, whose principal left at the end of December. The next piece is budget cuts. Okay, so that, there have been town halls, there have been a lot of issues and so forth related to the budget cuts. It seems very ironic in the midst of all of the city being shut down and asking services to be eliminated to support the migrant crisis. Many of the migrants are traveling with children. Many of the schools, especially in some of the areas that I support, have seen an influx in that. South Jamaica in particular is one of the largest areas with some of the shelters and some of these things. And many of these students are enrolling in these schools because of the rules related to how long they can stay in places or whatnot without placements. Many of them are moving every few months. And since most of the deadlines for fundings have already been closed for the year, schools may be receiving 30 new students, but getting zero more funding related to those things. So how can this be supported and elevated to not just DOE, but even the Adams administration in particular, to ensure that schools are not really suffering in the midst of both budget cuts and increase in population? Just as the funds are diverted. So those are the main parts of my report. Next, we shall have member Jalen is absent, member Julissa.
Hi, my comments are around the capital request too. I was looking at all the requests and disheartened that so many of them are around safety and just the well-being of our children. But two in particular, I just have to talk about is one of my schools is MS-217. They have a temporary building that they've had for over 20 years. And so the students walk between the permanent building and the temporary building all day. It's just not safe. And with the weather concerns and just all the things that can happen as students are going back and forth, I think that's definitely a priority. my daughter's at PS 101, and I just know there's so many kids who get hurt in that schoolyard that's also over 20 years old since the last time it's been looked at. So I think those are some priorities, but seeing the ones that need bathrooms renovated, I mean, these are just basic things that, you know, dignity of our staff and students that work in the schools. So other than that, I have my first meeting with Halsey, Junior High School 157 set up. And I look forward at the next meeting to talk about that school. Thanks.
Next we will have, I apologize. Did I call you out? I did. I apologize. I did forget one thing as I was mentioning, with the schools, and I had it at the top of my list. It was PS48. Also one of the only schools at the elementary that has a theater program where the students do both the front end and the back end, and they're also were recently designated as basically like a historical building with a renaming after David Dinkins, and they're also really looking for support for that theater that has not been updated since the new building was built. The next member is Quentin Messedin.
Happy New Year, everybody. So glad to be here. So glad to see all of you guys. So last meeting, I definitely brought some smoke. I was reading an email that I received from the 811Q staff, and I got a lot of comments. However, I want to thank the staff at the superintendent's office for their immediate action. I got an email by Mr. Nareen, like so quickly, addressing these concerns and how we could tackle them. Next, I was part of a bigger email with Principal Robin, Principal Nicole, Ashley Newman, Miss Reda, Miss Benoit, Miss Hall, Mr. Naveen, and Dr. Blake. We're getting stuff done now. We set up a meeting a few days later. So this is all like in a week. And then we get a meeting that works for all of us, which is 9 o'clock in the morning. And everybody showed up, wake and everything. And we went through each concern that was on that email. And through each concern was transparency, communication, and solutions. There were some things that were just misinterpreted, but we got through the nitty-gritty of everything, and we left there so much better. And I was so like heartfelt, just like at the level of support that this district has. I don't know about the other districts, but this District 28 really showed up at the need and request of the staff and the families when I presented those concerns. And I know Principal Robin is here, and she always is here. And that was the one night she wasn't here, but I definitely want to give you the opportunity to just, I don't know, say whatever you want to say about our resolution and how we came together.
Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for the CEC members, the CEC Council, and most importantly, the community. You will see tonight many of our teachers who are usually part of our meetings for PS 140. I want to thank them for being a part of this and listening and adding to the dialogue. And I also want to reach out to Principal Nicole, who was on for tonight. So I've worked very closely with since the opening of our 811 program here, housed at PS 140. So when we step, we step in stride, we step together, and when we speak, we do the exact same thing. So I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. Later throughout the year, we would love to be able to be on the docket so we can display and let children really share with you what it's like to be a member of our school community and what it is for the adults in the building as well. One of the things that really and truly came to the top of the concern that was shared last month was making sure that parents have the ability to access appropriate information. Sometimes the way these multiple programs are designed throughout New York City public schools, parents may have been missed apart that, right? Because like parents could have had infants that were being born at the time that these programs were designed. So when you're enrolling your students, you may not be knowledgeable as to what the program really offers, what are some specific questions that you may have. So I want to thank Quentin and any other parent of a child that has special needs, and all children need to be paid attention to and make sure that any challenges they may have are addressed by a school community. And I've been a part of District 28 for the past 14 years, and I'm very proud of District 28. I've been an assistant principal and a principal. And the one time I miss a CEC meeting, I wasn't able to answer those questions right then and there. So we do want to create an outlet. If you have any future questions, we're there together to answer them. I am the last one standing tonight, the last principal standing, but please note that I am here in spirit with Principal Avella of 811, who has 11 sites. And that's a huge feat. I'm at PS 140 every day, but 811 has staff members that are at our building every day that are very much involved, and they have made some adjustments based on some of the concerns that were shared last week. So thank you, and thank you for respecting me as a leader within District 28 and respecting the work that we do, reflecting all communities within D28, including South Side and North Side. We're all one. So thank you very much for giving me this time tonight. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you. And I put a link in the chat. I'm still waiting on FACE, who said 2 meetings ago that they were going to get me some resources to share with you guys that are here that have children in D75 in our district. But for now, I didn't get that email back yet. So you could just click on that link and you could kind of follow up with 811Qs, town hall meetings, PTA meetings, and you could get certain support that you can't get here because we just don't know, and they do. And that one is led by Principal Nicole and their superintendents. And it's just a little clearer if your child is in D75. You should just click that link. But other than that, we do have these impending cuts that we're all getting cut. And I hope that, us bridging the gap, we could just develop a dialogue to see, how we could support each other as we all get these cuts. And I'm going to keep paying attention to those to see what kind of support D75 needs as they get their cuts. And other than that, I'm looking forward to visiting the other schools that I'm connected with to make sure that all their support and their concerns are being met. That's my time.
Okay, thank you, Quentin. Next member, Simone Donbar.
Good evening and Happy New Year to everyone. I had the pleasure last month to visit the Catherine and Count Basie Magnet School for Multimedia and Performing Arts, also known as MS72. It is co-located together with a District 75 school, PSQ993, and the Magnet School of Leadership and Exploration, also known as, or formerly known as, Redwood Middle School. And I can only echo what Nafifa said. It was a pleasure to be there and to meet the principal and to have a tour through the school. I'm also a school liaison in a middle school, which is in the northern part of the district. And unfortunately, I have to report that the inequities in our district are real. This school that is co-located with 2 other schools really urgently needs repairs in the building, in the gym, They need the cooling system. It is, as I said, there is a District 75 school and they do not have accessible bathrooms. I find that very concerning and honestly mind-blowing how this can escape the DOE. And at the same time, even though they are really struggling with the building conditions, they have been taking in lots and lots of migrant families, and with the little resources they have been welcoming them. They have a system where they distribute their information in many different languages. I was very impressed. And in general, it's just a very kind and welcoming school environment. I would like to echo what Naftifa said, that it's really upsetting how the city and the DOE is not supporting schools in how they handle the newly arriving migrants and how they make things more difficult. After 60 days, families have to register new. That means that the child may have to leave the school to be transferred to a different shelter. And it's very difficult for the child to have some routine and to start to feel, to get adjusted, as well as for the school community and the teachers. Yeah, and I will say more later about the capital improvement plans. I also want to say thank you to Bruce Zihal, who alerted our CEC about the charter school public hearing that was conveniently set on December 26th when everyone is on break. And I want to thank him and also Community Board 12 and PEP member Shirley Aubin for showing up and attending the meeting. I'm really grateful because I was unable to come, and so thank you for going there and showing up and asking hard questions. And that's it from my side for now. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Simone. Next we'll have member Adriana Alicia.
Can you guys hear me now? Oh, I should have known the echo was too good to be true. Okay, I'll repeat all of that. I said, Happy New Year, everyone. And given the fact that we're going to have our capital plan conversation later, I'm going to reserve all of my comments related to that specifically until it's time for that on our agenda. I do want to highlight the amazing work that was done by most of our students, or mostly by our students across the district at the end of the year. They ran toy drives, food drives, pajama drives. It's a lot of work to organize and orchestrate those things. So it was beautiful to see that multiple schools, multiple student councils, multiple groups of kids did this for other kids. It's a great show of empathy. I also want to highlight a few other things. Lobby Day or Legislative Day is coming up. It's going to be in Albany as usual on Tuesday, January 23rd. If you're interested in attending, please reach out to Delcy Rodriguez. She's our Queens UFT Parent and Community Liaison. Also want to note that next Thursday, January 11th at 6 p.m. is the next mayoral control hearing. It's going to be in Brooklyn at the Boys and Girls High School on Fulton Street. The sign-up period has closed. I think they reached the number of submissions, but if you attend in person, you can add your name to the waiting list, and if folks did not show up, you can take their spot, potentially, depending on how many people are on the wait list. And then with respect to the cuts that Quentin mentioned a few minutes ago, I wanted to quickly note that Deputy Chancellor Quintana is on the agenda for next week's January CPAC meeting. That's also on January 11th. It's going to be a very busy day. She'll be providing special education updates and will be answering questions with respect to the mid-year budget adjustments and the proposed cut of $97 million to D75's budget. The CPAC meeting, like I said, is next Thursday at 9:30 a.m. and it is live streamed on YouTube. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Member Adriana Alicia. Before we move to the next member, just a comment. We have reopened the chat. However, we do reserve the right to reclose it if the conversation again becomes either disrespectful or not in keeping with the rules that we have set. Please remember that the chat is a courtesy that we allow the public. If you do not abide with that, you will not have that in there. No, this is not directed to you, Katie. Yes, the resolution vote counted. But just in general, we opened it silently while she was speaking, so just wanted to make the general announcement that it is open. The next member, GK Kali.
I'm gonna get that.
Thank you. So happy New Year to all of you. I plan to visit 144, PS 144 on January 8th for the SLT meeting, and 134 on January 18th for learning and observation and participation. I hope to have some observations next meeting. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Okay, thank you, GK. And last but not least, Tanya Went.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, okay. I'll try to speak loudly enough so we don't have to have a. There we go. Okay. I am the newest member on the council, and I just joined last month, but I didn't get a chance to visit anybody just yet. However, I did attend an SLT meeting for MS 287, which is Emerson. And it sounds like they've got some good stuff planned. In April, they're going to do a stress buster event before state testing comes up, which is kind of a good practice, right? Get in front of the stress before it actually hits you, as opposed to try to do cleanup afterwards, which is great. I also had a chance to speak with Principal Lau today, along with the newest member of their administration, Assistant Principal Adams. And I want to echo what Natifa said earlier about the campus with regard to illegal dumping and the speed bumps that are necessary around the school. Natifa already spoke to it, but just kind of want to echo it here that that's still a concern of the whole entire campus. The other thing that was brought to my attention is that outside of any capital requests, outside of any capital requests that we're going to discuss tonight, it was brought to my attention that the campus actually did get some money and some funding for surveillance cameras that are kind of would help with some dark spots around the campus. And then upon examination, it was noted that they're going to need a little bit more funding in order to kind of make sure it's fully up and running. And so that's something that kind of is being bounced off city council. So just kind of wanted to bring that to light and attention as well. I was also able to attend an SLT meeting for MS 332, the Magnet School of Leadership and Exploration. And it sounds like they're doing some really cool things there. This year, they had some field trips to the Hall of Science, and it sounded like there was actually a residency. They did some art with a program called Studio in a School. They took a trip to the Museum of Natural History, where they went to the Invisible Worlds exhibit. They went to Top of the Rock, like right before the break, which is pretty cool. And then they've got some upcoming things happening. I believe they mentioned the Queens Criminal Court, the Brooklyn Museum, the botanical gardens as well. So, I mean, a lot of cool stuff happening there. I have not also visited there, but I would like to soon. And then I plan to attend PS 220's SLT meeting this next week and visit there soon as well too. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Tanya. And so that concludes our member reports. Before we open to the public comments, the sign up list was completed earlier. I just wanted to make a note of some of our elected officials who are in here. As usual, we're always happy for the support that you offer to us. So if there's any other ones that I miss, you know, I will give you an opportunity to raise your hand so I can acknowledge you. But we wanted to acknowledge Ari Innes from Senator Leroy Comrie's office, Jonathan Boucher from Lynn Schulman's office, Susan Lee from Senator John Liu's office, Lynette Shelburne from Speaker Adams' office, Vanessa Sparks from CB12. I'm not sure if I noticed any of the other community board representatives in here. But as I mentioned, if you are here, we will encourage you to raise your hand just so we can acknowledge you. I do see Stephen Schoenegard from Queens High School South, and Ron Britt, our NWACP member, and many of the other principals and so forth. If I did not mention someone, it is not intentional. It is because I might have missed your name. But we thank you all for your support and for always being a part of us. At this point, we are going to open the floor for the public comment. Was there the speaker list in here as well? Adriana, do you mind grabbing the speaker?
They got it already.
Oh,
Yes.
it's only, oh, okay.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so in the interest of going back and forth, we will. Did everyone in here also register in the Zoom?
Ines did.
You can go first because you're on person.
Okay.
You made an effort. You go.
All right, so we'll let
Bruce was here first.
Bruce was here first, right? Okay, so we'll start with Bruce Zahel, and then we'll take someone from the online part, and then we will go back and forth. There's not that many in person, so then we'll continue online. So Bruce, the floor is yours. I would suggest that you go to the computer that's at the front and unmute right there. Timekeeping, I'm going to ask Yutal, can you do the timekeeping for us? So we will give speaker minutes.
Good to go.
Yes, you are.
So good evening, everyone. It's great to be here with the CEC and good to be with everyone at home as well as always. I'd like to thank our CEC for being so insightful and for watching out for our schools and our students. All of the points that the CEC members have brought up, everything from safety issues to physical improvements on our schools, to budget cuts, all of these are very serious issues that we all need to work on as a community. I would say one thing about budget cuts, since that was brought up by several members. I want the CEC and the membership to be aware that the UFT has filed a lawsuit against the city about these budget cuts, which will total overall as $2 billion being cut from our public schools. And our lawsuit charges that as the state increased state education funding to the city's public schools, New York City illegally reduced its contribution to education. But we also, as a community, must reach out to our elected officials and fight against this as well. Don't just rely on this lawsuit. A piece of good news, in collaboration with Dr. Blake, Sonia Rueda, and the entire District 28 Superintendent's Office, we are once again offering Dial a Teacher parent workshops to our community. And these workshops are beginning on January 16th, 17th, and 18th. All of our schools received the flyer this morning. It will be going out to parents. The first workshop will be Homework It's a Family Affair, which is a workshop that's geared towards helping our parents work with children at home, parents and caregivers working with children at home so that they can help them with their homework. And also introduces the Dial a Teacher program for the students, where students can call the Dial a Teacher program and get homework help from certified teachers after school hours. So thank you and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Bruce. The next person is going to be Jessica. Oh, no, it's going to be Vanessa. Online person. One amendment, I do apologize. Just based on the number of speakers and the fact that we are going to be doing improvements there. So Bruce, you got a little bit, something that's your New Year's bonus. But we are reducing the speaker times to 90 seconds as opposed to 2 minutes. So we do apologize, but otherwise we'll be half an hour, we'll be kicked out of the building before we discuss our plans. So, but that's a smart. Can we start on she is able to start? Can you help with muting for the person's name? Vanessa Scott, can you unmute?
Good evening and Happy New Year. Good evening and Happy New Year to CEC28. This is Vanessa Community Board. Vanessa Sparks, Community Board 12, bringing greetings from the chairperson, Latoya LeGrand, and the Community Board 12 chairperson, the Reverend Carlene Thorpe. I just want to say thank you first to Dr. Blake for meeting with myself and Reverend Thorpe to talk about some of the issues, not just in Community Board 12, but specifically schools that are in both District 28 and Community Board 12. I would like this extended invitation to those members whose schools sit in Community Board 12 to please come to our Education Committee meetings so you can give us a report as to some of your findings as you visit your schools that sit in Community Board 12. I heard someone spoke about the challenges at the MS72 campus. MS72 does sit in the heart of Community Board 12, and we would like for you to come to speak to us about what findings were when you did your walkthrough. And last, really quickly, and I will talk about this a little more next month's meeting, is that sham of a hearing that was done by the charter school the day after Christmas at the Queens Central Public Library. It was an absolute insult and disrespectful not only to the community, but to District 28 as a whole. So thank you, and I will continue listening.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Next, we have Jessica Zillow from
This is very awkward. I really want to talk to you, but I have to talk to the camera over here. So there we go. Tell me when I'm ready because I'm watching for my time. So the first thing is about schools safety is really the MTA. I call on the CEC to talk to the community boards because at the MTA, we need a hearing. Evidently, the MTA is doing massive reconstruction for the Q23 and the Q54 lines, like removing the bus stop in front of Mel's. So whoever sits on for Mel's and the high school, the D75 program there, they want to get rid of the bus stop there, but keep the one in front of, I believe it's the Verizon store. I already talked to Lynn Shulman's office. I'm happy to provide the information. They are still taking feedback, but the MTA specifically has not had an information center with schools, CECs, and other people where it impacts school too. So that's really why I came tonight, is that the MTA is up to their nasty old tricks and they're not listening to the community. And so the Q23 is also going to be shortened. It impacts Forest Hills High School and a lot of other areas. There's massive issues with the 23 and the Q54 already in front of Mel and Queens Metro. So just want to throw that out there. The other thing is that on school IDs, this came up today because you're talking about this, is that the student's name and date of birth are listed on the ID. I found somebody's ID from Forest Hills High School, so I was kind enough to go and return it to Forest Hills High School. But that means that anybody that finds an ID then could go ahead and open up a credit card as shown on the presentation. But my call today is really about the crazy MTA bus redesign. That's it. I made it. I can talk very fast. You're right. Thank you, Jessica. You're welcome. Our next speaker is going to be
Maxwell.
Karen Bale.
Hi. Hi, good evening. Thank you for the time. It's not a lot of time for someone like myself who likes to talk so much, so I'm going to try and make this 90 seconds. I've been teaching for the DOE for almost 22 years, and I've been to a few of these meetings. I work in District 28. And just thinking back over the past few years and some of the major cultural events that have happened in the United States and in our world, we had George Floyd, we had Asian hate, which brought a lot of attention to amplifying Black voices and introduction of legislation in Senate to establish Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander history. I implore you and the entire Department of Education to teach about Jewish studies and share actual historical content, and not only since 1948 information, instead of learning what's happening now from TikTok and misinformative so-called news platforms. And I'm asking, what is the community and influencers like yourself, the Department of Education, and our local elected officials doing to rally with Jews regarding the rise of anti-Semitism, condemning Hamas, and coming to a place where Jewish students, teachers, and families feel safe in their school environments and are treated equally with everyone else? And finally, I'd like to kindly remind you of a quote that happens to be on the restorative practice page in our DOE. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And silence speaks volumes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Our next speaker is going to be
oh, sorry, it's on
wait,
this.
you're also on the list, right? Okay. Okay.
And they don't need to see me. As long as they can hear me, they don't need to see me. Right?
Yeah, so they can hear, so they can hear. Go to this one.
You need to hear me over here?
Yeah.
Annoying. How?
Sorry.
No, what do I press?
I think you.
Stop my time.
Okay, you go.
No, restart my time. I need every second. Do I have to press it?
There you go.
Wait, I'm not ready yet.
I need to reset it as soon as.
All right, I'm watching.
No, he's watching.
Okay, ready, hey, go. Okay, hi, good evening. My name is Venus Ketchum, community education activist, philanthropist. I'm starting my CEC training tour where I bring up concerns for the CEC. I gotta go quickly. Number one is that all CEC members present a robust CEC members report, introducing yourselves, your past leadership roles within the district, what parent leadership roles have you had, as well as what are your liaison schools every month before you start your report, so we can know what schools that you're expected to see and if you were able to make them or not. So please let us know all the schools you're a liaison for. Prioritizing the public. I got really emotional yesterday at District 25 because the public has to sit through these boring A** meetings until they get to speak and bring up their concern. So that was an issue I brought up in District 30 many years ago. They have switched their meetings around to have public speaking portions throughout the meeting, so we don't have to wait for 2 hours to bring up our community concerns. One more thing is District 75 programs in our D28 schools what schools have historically had programs in them, what schools have programs in there, and how can we support that partnership? Like PS48 has had a program in it forever. I found out 161 has a very unique District 75 program in it, but please, liaisons to schools, don't forget to mention if the school has a D75 program in it. So really making sure that the council members' reports are robust. They must be robust. Thank you.
Thank you, Venus. So at this point, we go back to our online. We have Miss Lynette Shelbourne Barfield.
Oh, good evening. I'm sorry. Happy New Year.
Oh, wait, oh my God, I know I'm slowing down, but I just wanted to mention that I saw a addition at PS16, and I don't know if the district is because that charter school might try to take that addition. I was just driving the other day. Does anybody know about that? There's a brand new building that's being attached to PS16. That's very important. They might try to take that school from us. Let's get on that ASAP. And who has 160? When I saw that new building, I said, that's gonna get that. You know about PS160? He knows about it.
All right. So we're following
Am I ready?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to give an exciting announcement first before I run out of time. Yesterday, January 3rd, 2024, the New York City Council's charter meeting. During that meeting, council members re-elected Speaker Adrian E. Adams to lead the legislative body for a second two-year term. Speaker Adams will continue to lead the most diverse and women majority New York City Council, which includes 4 new council members. In addition, under the leadership of Speaker Adams during the previous term, the New York City Council confronted major crises facing the city of New York by advancing solutions and prioritizing equity through legislation and budget. And this full report with all of her legislation outline is on, I tell you all, I'm not good at Russian, and I don't think it's a good idea, but I guess you have to do what you have to do. But you can contact press@council.nyc.gov. I urge you all, especially the school community, the families, the leadership within our community, to really, really access that report so you are clear and you have firsthand knowledge of the legislation that was passed under her leadership. Now I have 2 more community events, but I have 3 seconds left. What would you like to do? Can I give them real quick? Hello? Share.
Okay.
I can also send it if that's what you need.
Put the links in the chat as well.
Okay, I don't know if I could put the flyers up there right now, but I can send it to.
Yeah, you can always email it and we will.
I'll email it tomorrow. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, our final person in person. Apologize, your name.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Berland, and I came tonight to speak in favor of both the resolution to counter anti-Semitism as well as the resolution against hate. And really being here tonight is a bit of an act of faith. I think it's the faith that we all place in each other, that we come together and we represent an incredibly diverse group of children who are diverse in terms of the way that they look, in terms of the way they worship, in terms of the ability they look at. And we all look to each other to recognize that. We place a certain amount of trust in each other. And we place an amount of trust in CECs like this one, that when there is an issue, they will recognize it and they will take action. And looking at this CEC tonight, it really was an affirmation of that trust. That when there is a problem, when there's a need for specific actions to be taken, that a group like this can come together and can pass a resolution with wisdom, with leadership, that actually calls for steps in the timeline to take those actions. And thank you, CEC, on behalf of your
Next speaker, now we're exclusively online, will be Irene Redkey.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. First and foremost, I would like to express my big thank you and gratitude to the CEC President, Vijay, for putting forward the resolution condemning anti-Semitism and for sponsoring that resolution. And thank you to all the CEC members who have voted for it. This resolution is very, very important to me and my other fellow Jewish parents in this district. It made me actually very emotional to see this resolution being passed. I have to get a little personal on this, but it's personal to me because my family and I fled the USSR for being persecuted as Jews. We came as refugees to the United States that accepted us, and we made it our home. And to see the rise in anti-Semitism that we have recently seen has been extremely difficult for all of us, people like myself. And to have this resolution passed by this district means a lot to us. And what I would like to express is my big hope that the DOE actually follows through and implements those things that this resolution calls for. And I asked Dr. Blake to please work with DOE Central to make sure that the things that this resolution asks the DOE to do are actually implemented in public schools of our district, because it's one thing to condemn something as bad as anti-Semitism or any other form of hate. And it's another thing to prevent these acts from happening again in the future. And to prevent it, we need to educate students and we need to have conversations in schools to make sure everybody feels safe and can express themselves. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Irene. Our next speaker will be Alexia.
I'm trying to unmute. Okay. Oh, good evening. I was trying to unmute myself. So again, my name is Alexia. I'm a parent of District 28 and also a community worker of the district. So just to start off, I do want to just express thanks to the guest speakers that were here tonight. I also just want to just touch on the topic in regards to school safety. And you know, many parents as well as myself, we have access to the Citizens app. And so we can see and find out what things are happening in the school community, although the school hasn't, hasn't let us know what's going on because of whatever policies and procedures. And I think that that has to be taken into account in terms of trying to ease parents' fears and anxiety, and also trusting in the way that the school goes about informing parents of school safety or school safety matters. The other piece that I just want to share is that I think it was really important for the CEC to come up with a resolution, and also just being mindful that, everyone has to be respected and has to be acknowledged, and create safe space for all young people to express themselves and learn about each other and learn about the diversity of Queens and many other cultures and religions. I also just want to say, in regards to my work with Jamaica Community Partnership, we are a primary prevention program with ACS. So please look us up. I put the information in the chat. We do provide services to all families in the Jamaica Queens area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexia. Our next speaker would be Ari Ennis.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Ari Ennis. I am the Deputy Chief of Staff with the Office of State Senator Leroy Comrie. Session started yesterday. Well, yesterday was the first day of session in Albany, so the senator will be traveling back and forth. But of course, if you need to reach our office, we're still on Farmers Boulevard in Murdoch. You can call us at 718-765-6359. The senator is still the chairman of Committee on Corporations, Authorities, and Commissions. And I just want to mention a few things, a few events that our office will be hosting this upcoming January. We're still having mobile office hours. Our next one will be Wednesday, January 10th from 10 to 2 p.m. Queens Public Library at Briarwood. We are also going to be having an MLK Day of Service event, Monday, January 15th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and that will be at JPAC. We're also having, we're co-sponsoring with Public Advocate Jamani Williams' office, a faith-based clergy event, Thursday, January 18th from 10 to 1 at the Robert Ross Family Life Center. We're having a New Year Get Clear free shredding and e-waste event Saturday, January 20th, 10 to 2, rain, shine, or snow, in front of the Senator's District Office at 11343 Farmers Boulevard. Also in January, we're having another mobile office, our Wednesday, January 24th at the Queens Public Library at Kew Gardens. Another New York State Winter Utility Assistance Fair, Saturday, January 27th at the C.W. Mixon Center, which is at 11220 Springfield Boulevard. For any other information, please call our office at any of these events and upcoming events at 718-765-6359. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ari. And our next speaker will be Jean Han. Jean, are you able to unmute?
Been doing it.
So we're having an issue with unmuting Jean. We're going to jump and come on. Next speaker is Lamore Nesher. Jean will come right back to you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So thank you, really, everyone, for the panel, for your time in reviewing and drafting the resolution and voting for it. I'm talking about the anti-Semitism and anti-hate. We really appreciate that. I wanted to also thank you for bringing speakers to educate our community about very important things. And as parent leaders, and parents at all, it was very, very educational and very informative. Atifa and everyone else, thank you for your reports. It's amazing, eye-opening. There's a lot to do, and this panel is really working, and I appreciate it. So thank you all. It is important, if we're talking about education, to really focus on, if we are trying to help this resolution work, to work together with the Jewish communities and organizations to actually implement good plans to education. And it is important to respect the community. So if there are panelists on CEC, like parents that were voted, they should respect the Jewish community by stepping down if they need to, because they were requested to do so, because they didn't respect the Jewish community, and they do express hate and bias and divide us all. So we'll appreciate if that person will be removed. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Jean, are you, is Jean able to? Oh. We'll put you at the end, if you're back then. So next speaker is, whoops, my screen isn't moving. Sasha Cruz. Yes, Sasha Cruz.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Happy New Year's. Just wanted to take this moment, just to talk about how our school, we still are having a lot of difficulty in having transparency with the budget, understanding where the allocations of funds, especially with all the budget cuts that are happening at the school. We're asking for more enrichment programs at our school. There's never enough money. Our cafeteria tables are falling apart. I think that they have been in existence in our cafeteria since I attended the school 25 years ago, and they're still not replaced. And the constant answers that we get when we're asking for new things to be purchased within the school is that there's not money in the budget, not money in the budget. And as we hear, Bruce mentioned that the city is also having those budget cuts. They're not really seeing that while the needs in the buildings and the infrastructure that there is currently, things are not happening now. You know, walls don't get touched because there's asbestos on it and all this, yet our kids are there. Lead in waters, our kids are being exposed and so forth. So we just want much more transparency at the dollars that are used. Parents are always foretold of things. We're never at the table. So we need your help.
Thank you, Sasha. Our next speaker is Ari Feldman. Okay, go ahead, Ari. Are you able to? You are muted. Wait, I think you muted him.
Oh, there we go. Thanks. Yeah, had a little technical difficulties there. Thanks. I'll make this quick. I had a couple of things. One was I wanted to say that I was disappointed in the procedure from tonight. I did not think it was very professional to have a resolution that clearly some of your members did not feel like informed enough to be able to vote on, that multiple people had to abstain, that you pushed this vote through and didn't allow like time for public comment. It's really unusual to have a resolution as you waited for this other one to go until after public comment. It's really disappointing to me that I'm going to say that I think it's unprofessional for you not to wait until after public comment to vote, because you are a public body, and the point of these resolutions is to represent what the people want and what is important for the community. And to not wait until after hearing from the community is really disappointing, especially from a resolution that was only, it came out 5 days ago, 3 days ago, right? I think it was January 1st that it was sent out. So that was really disappointing. I also I noticed that there was a change from the one that was sent out on the first and in the PDF that mentioned white supremacy, and I am disappointed that part got taken out, because as we know, anti-Semitism is rooted in white supremacy, in seeing Jews as not white and as not Aryan enough, and as somebody who you know is a Jew and was told that I wasn't white enough growing up, I'm disappointed that that was not kept in. But the more important, bigger picture thing that I actually wanted to come here and talk about tonight was actually the mayoral control hearings are happening right now. For those of you who are, it didn't come up at all tonight, and I'm really disappointed that we didn't really talk about that, because it's huge. Mayoral control is a really important thing that's going to impact our schools, and there is a deadline of January 31st to give any feedback on mayoral control, so that our communities can take back control, because right now the mayor has most of the control on making any decisions. So thanks. Sorry, I couldn't see the time.
Thank you, Harry. Our next speaker is, hold on. She's not here. I'm sorry, my screen.
Ada? I don't see the person or anything. No.
Noemi Ala. Noemi Ada is, I think she's left the meeting. Next we have Tequila Oku.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to make a comment related to the second resolution that dealt with hatred more broadly. I just wanted to suggest that maybe a couple bullets get added that also include other, just more broadly when it comes to hate. For example, anti-Black hate, anti-Asian hate, as well as anti-Hispanic. And then maybe to also include a bullet that deals with partnerships with other educational and cultural institutions to also educate students about these other cultures and history around as well. I would say personally, like I know of a number of anti-Black situations that have happened recently in District 28, and the response was that, the community, might not be educated or aware as to cultural differences, and so there's some work that needs to get done. So with that in mind, it would be great if the second resolution could also factor in, a variety of different students so that all students feel included and represented when it comes to these anti-hate resolutions.
Okay, thank you. Jean, are you back? Are you able to unmute, Jean? Okay, it looks like Jean is still not there. So that takes us to the end of our public comment section. At this time, we are going to go back to the vote on the second resolution. As a reminder, this resolution is a resolution on dealing with hatred, conflict, and violence by honoring, protecting, and respecting human dignity. We're going to do the roll call for the vote. First Vice President Luzau.
Yes.
Second Vice President Narun Swagna.
Yes.
Yes.
Treasurer Utah Check.
Yes.
Secretary Lewis. Yeah. Member Jalen. Member Julissa.
Yes.
Member Quentin Netherton.
Yes.
Member Samantha.
Yes.
Member Adriana Lisi. Member GK Kalianaram.
Yes.
Member Went.
Yes.
So President Ramjatan.
Yes.
Okay, so unanimous support for those who are here. This resolution is passed.
Latifah, did you call yourself? Sorry, I didn't hear if you called on yourself.
I did.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So this brings us to the end of the discussion. When I mentioned some of the members earlier, I forgot to mention Sonia Reda, our wonderful family person. Sonia, do you want to say a couple words? And then we'll wrap up.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. It's always a pleasure to be here to hear everyone's concerns, everyone's goals, everyone's mission to work collaboratively, as challenging as I know that can be. I'm always happy to be part of this conversation. I also want to encourage parents to continue to support parent leadership at your school level. I know that the CEC is a great opportunity to work in community, but please continue to support your school community, PTAs, school leadership team, our Title I. Those of you that are in Title I schools, those funds have to be spent by parents, planned by parents. So please reach out if you have any questions. I'll put my email in the chat. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity to say something to this amazing community. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. At this point, would like someone to vote to end the calendar part of the meeting? Do we have
vote to adjourn? Vote to end. Adjourn. Yeah.
Okay, Tanya, second. Any 1 second? All right, so second, I see Narun and quite a few others. So thank you, everyone. Just a 5-minute break. As we have to discuss the school submissions in the next meeting. Right, thank you, everyone. At this point, we are gonna give an opportunity for everyone to unmute, and say hello. Okay, so members,
My head?
Yeah.
all right, welcome back, everyone. So at this point, we're gonna begin the business meeting. As a reminder, the public is welcome to stay and observe, but you are not allowed to speak. So at this point, the chat is disabled. And members and non-members are not allowed to unmute. Okay, we'll start with the roll call. President Vijay Ramjatan. Is Vijay still there? I think he may have, he's off. First Vice President Lu Zhao.
Here.
Second Vice President Narun Swapna.
Present.
Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis, I'm here. Treasurer Utah Cheng.
Present.
Member Jalen, absent. Member Julissa. Present. Member Quentin Mezitin.
Present.
Member Simone Dornbach.
Present.
Member Adriana Alicia. Member GK
Present.
Member Tanya Wentz.
Present.
All right. So we're gonna jump straight into our business agenda. The first on the agenda is to discuss and complete the capital plan request form. Dorinda, are you able to bring up the form?
I can.
Who's bringing it up? Adriana? Okay. All right, so as Adriana brings that up, so just for just as a reminder, all the principals received in notification to submit what their capital plan requests were. During member reports, we already heard about a couple of the things that are near and dear to some of the schools. And members, we were supposed to start reviewing some of the options that are suggested so that we can rank them. So first and foremost, we do need to rank our top 5, which will be forwarded to the district, and then others we can put in rank order underneath. And if there is more funding, they would tend to get to those. To be honest, I'm sometimes a little bit disappointed with the process because I think we've had great projects and not all of them have been funded over the past few years. As a reminder, if schools had recently had similar work done, those projects are most likely not going to get approved. If they are not major projects that are more than $50,000 and either involve infrastructure or technology or certain things like that, they're not going to be funded. I think off of the review, all of the projects are viable. So now it's a matter of prioritizing them from our part. All right. I believe Alicia, Adriana, you did help to organize some of the requests based on the priorities, based on the yeah, if you can speak to that a little bit. And I just wanted to make just a suggestion. Yeah. In terms of selecting it. So I know in the previous cycle, we selected most of those that dealt with either bathroom upgrades and physical things. And while I think those are important, it is not necessarily always fair since there's a wide range of parts. So I would suggest that this year, based on the categorizations that we have achieved, if we can maybe prioritize at least maybe the top one from each of the sections and then rank the others afterwards so that we do give schools across the district a fair opportunity to be selected.
So I'm just going to quickly go over the categories for anyone listening at home. We have broken these down or grouped them rather by specific categories. Those are safety, STEAM, health and wellness, and then miscellaneous and or special projects. So I added a column here for the CEC rank so that anyone following can see what's happening in real time. And then we can also click through any of these links if there are questions. But I think, Latifa, that that's a great point and a great way for us to start looking at all of these is one from each, and then we'll figure out where the last one goes. Does anyone here have any questions about?
I had a couple questions related to it. Because as I was looking at it, I do understand that there are these broad categories. I had actually done a slightly different categorization where I looked at the type of requests that were in there. So I looked and under some of the physical infrastructure, there were some bathroom requests, some kitchen and cafeteria requests, some renovations to existing parts that were not upgraded in often over a decade, some technology upgrades, some new requests, and then some ACs. So those were the categories that I had: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. And the reason I looked at it that way is that I think a lot of them can sometimes be forced into the categories that you put. So it kind of gave like an apples to apples comparison to look at some of those in that way.
Well, yeah, the idea was to just let it be expanded so that each council member can either expand on what they get or expand on it if they know this is actually like infrastructure, like you're saying, and they're just tossing in the bathrooms weren't upgraded for class. So yeah, totally.
Okay. All right. So how are we? What's our rack?
Rank all of the priorities in each category and then from there rank against each other. Or do you want to go category by category? Line by line or category then category then category?
I prefer category by category.
Are we trying to pick one from each category or?
I think that's the idea.
Yeah. Oh.
Let it add fair and then the last one.
That's how we do it. Like.
Sort of. Well, so the reason that I said category by category is because you're like comparing a shorter list. Okay. Because it got a little, especially on these small screens, it's hard to see. So what do you have up here, Adriana?
Not the ones, because first that are all safety related. So you'll start with the what do you need from me? Oh, you know, like other people can't hear. So each council member's name is listed where their school is. So Natifa, your one of your schools is up here first. What would you rank it as? I guess maybe we can start that way.
So I mean, I have to admit I'm partial that I do consider it a priority, being very familiar with the building, both in terms of the age, both in terms of the way the school has been broken into 2 schools that are considered at relatively at capacity, even though one of the schools was smaller. And because the building is not ADA accessible, I think some of these things are a significant issue. For example, in the last period, last year when we had what was that dust from Canada and so forth, there were definitely, before some of the schools, the DOE officially said things like shut off the school, close the schools and so forth. These are some of the places where you had a lot of students who are sometimes coming from the 40s projects that's right there, students in transient housing, a lot of these students with sometimes very special needs that are sensitive to that. So I consider it a priority as opposed to just a nice to have. I do see that there are some others in there. Some of them were expanded, some were not. So you know, and I'm a little bit at a you know, I'm a little bit on a balance there, because within that same category, I do have even my own kid's school, which does have you know, it is a need in terms of that, but I saw it as a slightly less pressing need, just because they're functional, although they're not serving the other one is a bathroom one. They're not serving as much students as they could, but it's functional. So that's what was one of my concerns.
Which one's the one your child, is it the bathroom,
So I actually have a conflict in there, because I'm also concerned about the technology, and those were actually two that I wanted to put together, because their infrastructure changes to the same building.
those, and there's a submission here that the principal noted that they've made the same submission for like 7 years straight.
That is-
Those three are so crucial. Can we talk about school? I'm so confused. I'm not following yet.
So I mentioned 40 and 312. They're the same building. It's an older building. The communication is bad. It's not ADA accessible. It has no elevator. So the two concerns that were in there were upgrade to the technology system. It has an older PBX system that does not allow for the two offices to really communicate with each other. So without an elevator, you are literally sometimes running from one place to the other. And in terms of that, during times of heat wave or similar things, it is a high thing for fainting and other you know, asthma and other heat related triggers. So I have a suggestion to put the two of those together with as a plan for that one building.
No, I would agree.
If you want to back 5 on him, this is what I wanted. Hopefully everybody will already be ready to talk to. Better 5.
Yeah. Sorry for confusing.
Sorry.
All right.
So, I visited the school right before the break. The gymnasium is, the floor is in a very bad state. The wall can't be, the separation wall can't be used. The bleachers are broken and it needs an upgrade. What I found concerning is that this is a school, like it's a campus with 2 other schools. And there are District 75 kids. So I think it's also a safety concern that this cannot be used properly. And another concern that I have is, and this is not part of, I don't know who did the additional comments, but the bathrooms are not ADA accessible. And this school, as well as the other middle school, they have an inclusion program where children from District 75 take classes in the middle schools. And so there are a couple of ADA accessible bathrooms, but not all of them. So you have to go to a special floor if you want to use an ADA accessible bathroom. And I just find that very problematic for a school that has a lot of students who are bound to wheelchairs and need access to the bathroom. So I would also prioritize that very high. And it would benefit a campus with 3 schools. And they also do need an AC cooling system, but I'm not sure if, from what I remember, the cooling systems are not covered under the capital improvement. So this is something that I suggest we as a CEC, we should maybe reach out to the superintendent and ask, because there are so many requests for cooling units. And I remember that we had the discussion, I believe in September, where Dr. Blake said that we should contact him when there are issues. So I think.
So one thing with that is a difference. If you're looking for classroom units, that's not even covered.
Yeah, it's not. The bigger ones are covered.
From 40, it shows an example of the in the additional comments on, I believe there's a driveway. The like industrial size central type cooling units. Those are ones we're talking about that going into that part. And that come like an extensive request for like on the new building kind of built in that doesn't. But yeah.
Yeah, I happen to have visited that school. The bathroom was, at least the one I used was in very bad situation, just as you can probably see in the images uploaded by Principal Rodriguez. And I do feel like that school is serving like a lot of Hispanic students, who might not be very vocal about their needs and the concerns, and it does occur to me it's a very it's a safety as well as a health concern for the kids. They're like elementary school kids, so they probably don't know how to handle like flooded toilet, etc. So I think this is a pretty high priority in my opinion. Yes. So yeah, the next one is 101. Yeah, I walked by that playground several times. I do feel like it doesn't fit into the overall school environment. It does look very run down. I don't know whether it's because it's outdated, not maintained well, or it's just the age. I'm not an expert on both the playground safety, but it does look pretty concerning to me. I don't know how to rank this.
Can I just add, because my daughter's there. There was a friend who broke her arm, fell from the bar, which isn't even a high bar. It's like pretty low, but fell, broke her arm, had a cast for a couple months. Another kid fell, hit his head, was sent to the ER on the concrete, and so on and so on. So I know it's definitely a concern. And the other thing that's really important is that park is open to the public. So it's not just serving the school, it's serving the neighborhood. I don't know if that's true. So this is where I'm not as aware of how that's different, but yeah.
There's a difference between need as want, and I think this is more of a want. It's a safety concern, but it's not as much needed as like some of the other schools. With that,
so one of the things I don't know how much we have discussed about is what we're also needs. We should also look at the building accessibility to look at where those are ranked. Sometimes updates and so on. So because sometimes it's traditional. Even though like a floor,
Yeah.
I think this is considered
Exercise thing.
you know, like a one kind of
You know.
even though we may understand it, and one question
Like, I'm not disagreeing. Yeah.
So yeah, as I was mentioning with this, this is the building accessibility profile, for example. So it gives like it gives a basic summary of how these things are. So you see in terms of where it is, and then the condition, the BCAS, the condition survey for the previous year is the one that they really do look at. Because if something is listed as
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's not compliant, if the prior condition was not existed as a new urgent
Or like,
for those
you know, why?
you would consider. So for example, one of the ones that I saw on the list, just to jump, I think I'm not sure where you would categorize that one. One of the schools is asking for a new building.
Yeah, that's my school, MS 217.
So while it's an urgent request, as mentioned on this, we asked for the past 7 years. And most of the SCA plans for building constructions are built out all the way till 2027. So this is also something that we know if even if they do consider it, it would be for future plan that goes beyond. So selecting it, for example, in our top 5 becomes a waste of a top 5 space that's not likely to be funded because the structure is inconvenient to move from one place to the other, but it is functional. So those are some of the things that we're going with that. You can reach it. I just wanted to make sure that whatever top 5 we do go against the building condition survey and building accessibility.
I have visited that building like a few years back, so I didn't get a chance to visit that building. And they're requesting for air conditioning in the common space. I would say it does because, you know, when it gets really hot in the summertime, so that is like uncomfortable situation. Yeah. The buildings in the school can get really hot. Like I know, PS 161, they were like their cafeteria. They didn't have working air conditioner there. It was not good. It was really like it was getting this kid sick and a lot of things. Yeah.
So we on 7 minutes. Going down this list of what's the category again? Safety. Going down this list on safety, is there for the members that we haven't gone to, is there any one that we are exceedingly strongly about? Like I already mentioned mine, but is there any other one?
I would say the one like Vijay has, like the female bathroom. I think that should get a like high priority because it has one for children, one for adults, you know.
So that's actually as I mentioned, my school,
Yeah.
and it is a priority. However, I wouldn't rank it as the for this category. I would rank the other two that I had suggested before it. Because as I said, the bathroom, it is functional, but it is limited because the spaces are, you know, like the position that could have been 2 stalls in the girls' bathroom are urinals. I've been in those bathrooms.
Yeah.
You know, and the faculty bathroom is literally 2 stalls for an entire school that has a population of
Lots of students.
like 600. Yeah.
I wanna highlight my kid's school, only because my kid's school and I've been in the cafeteria here. We want to remodel the kitchen and the cafeteria as it is now. The way that the kitchen is set up is too small to hold their refrigerating units and a couple of other things. And it's the heat that those heat.
So how many requests we got? How many did we get?
We have 30 something.
30?
Yeah.
Where did you get this page? Because is it in my email?
It's a second tab. It's just
Where?
so if you open the doc, Google Doc.
The one reason that I didn't
Okay, so it should be in the
prioritize
Google
a
Doc.
lot of
Yeah, Google Doc.
the kitchen cafeteria ones is that also partners with the food, whatever, the food department. And their assessments or so forth, they do have a 3-prong program. If your school does not have the correct facility to do everything on campus as it's needed, they do have the delivery program. If it's partial, they do. So I'm seeing that it's functional, it's not ideal, but based on certain requests that I've had from other schools before for that, when they do the assessment or so forth, a lot of times they turn it down because some of the requirements to make the changes becomes based on the age of the building or whatnot, becomes more prohibitive than the word of it. So I do see
in
a
Google
couple of
Drive.
them. I think they are great ones,
So that this is.
but I did not rank them in the top 5 for that.
This is your CEC account, right?
Which school was that?
Brazil.
There's another one
Share with
here
me now.
that's,
Because I have my other.
Is this the account you use? for
Yeah,
CEC?
yeah.
This one is for CSC, but I think.
No, you're the ones that you said are dire. Yeah.
Okay. So this,
Oh yeah, that's the one.
which they, the capital improvement plan, will that be?
That is one of the.
This one?
on my list was the 217, and you're telling me that
No,
that's
it's
not gonna get approved, then I agree with.
No, I think it.
That we have it as high.
This one?
217 was the temporary building.
No, it's in the one of the
Because, but if you say it's not going to be wasted.
spreadsheet. It's not.
It's not
the,
gonna happen, then I agree with the 1,
Spreadsheet.
2,
I don't
3,
see.
4. 82.
Is it this one?
Why would 217
No,
not get,
think
like, why would
I-
that one be a waste?
This one.
For this year's
What is the
capital
title on
funding plan,
yours?
unless you're looking for an update in like 2030, because the building itself works, it's not ideal. It's a temporary unit that's been in existence for 20 years, so it's like a permanent
Yeah.
temporary building by now, and they've already exhausted about 5 years of new buildings. So that would become a new building if you're making a new structure. Because remember, there's the new one that's happening on Northern Boulevard, there's a new one that's happening on Hillside. And this is an annual process. So I'm saying for this year, it's highly unlikely based on where the school is. Because they've been prioritizing.
So do I tell the principal that this request is probably gonna no, because.
This year,
I mean, we're not gonna not put it on our list. We will submit all of them. It's a matter of ranking. I'm just saying in terms of putting it on the top 5 based on the history of its support, the fact that the temporary building is not ideal but functional. It's not like.
It's in the email.
Yes.
It's the.
I can't still see it.
It's strange to me that kids can walk out of the school at any given time, walk to this temporary building, but they could also be approached by strangers.
They could just wander off. They can.
I think it's not just that the temporary building actually is
very functional.
Right. No, so that's what I'm saying, from the SDA.
the
part,
walking back and forth.
Yeah, the SDA is not, doesn't care about that part. So this would become like a issue with, you know, the district office, with the safety office, with campus, with whatever it is. But in terms of them just looking dollars and cents, are we gonna fund this building?
Okay.
It's gonna be most
I
likely.
just wanted to make sure I fully understood why, like, if Principal Burns was asking me
The other part of
why it wasn't ranked high by us.
Yeah.
Because we don't think that it's gonna go through.
But you can explain that it'll still be submitted, right? But also as the people were saying, that the build out plan that they have is already till 2027. So if they add this, you're looking at a potential start date of 2027. So that is also, that's the other thing that you were mentioning that we need to consider is like, what are the actual timelines that we're looking at for this? If there's an immediate need that's more immediate than 3 years, maybe that is what we could, right?
Because from last year's submission, I think we got what, one, if maybe two at the most. Right, and then the year before, we got none. So, you know, so that's, because remember, we're not the only district that is,
We're
supporting
requesting
that.
for
They do have
funding.
that limited amount, so it's not a matter of like not prioritizing the school, it's in terms of like actually trying to get something that will be.
I don't see that folder.
But also just in the interest of time, we are at 10:01. Can we also look at another category if we don't have any other one from here that we want to prioritize? So it could be at the top. No, but so this is only one category we looked at. We didn't look at the other categories. We get it.
I think we're gonna rank these.
Yeah, can we reschedule this because
We have 3 other categories.
The special meeting can be scheduled virtually.
yeah,
However, if we are scheduling a virtual meeting, we need what, 48 hours, 48 hours notice. And we do need to do it, next Friday is the day that we have to submit.
so we need to do it soon.
So basically, Monday would be the ideal. Is Monday possible to, which would mean, Dorinda, that we have to send out a notification tomorrow.
And has that maybe yeah, because you can count the weekend.
Yeah. Is it possible to do like a, if we continue reviewing and doing these rankings of our own over the weekend, is it possible to do a 6 to 7 meeting on Monday?
For me, it's possible.
Yeah, it's virtual. So.
Everyone had access to it. What time on Monday?
Can we schedule a special meeting 6 to 7 on Monday?
Yes, I'm good.
And if I don't agree that we have to pick one from each category.
Okay.
Is that we have to pick one from each category to rank?
Right, yeah, but I'm saying to get all the 5 and look at all of the schools, we only looked at what Adriana had jumped into this part, you know.
No, I agree. I think we need to meet again. We need to discuss all of them.
Yes.
My point was, earlier, did I hear correctly that we have to rank
A mix
of them in the end of the day?
Yes, we need a top 5.
We reviewed all of them and we're like,
5 of them
really should be in the safety area. Would that be the result?
I mean, it could be the result, but I'm just saying, just like last year, we literally looked at bathrooms.
I get it. Yeah.
So
I think what I'm saying is I would like not to assume that we're gonna end up with 5 different.
Right, it doesn't have to, but yeah.
Let's discuss and.
No worries.
What we should go at home, take it home, read it over, and like Natifa said, go through for whatever you think is super important, or you want to review it, review the document that, or the plans document, right? And then rank them all, rank them all.
Rank them all, yeah.
Come ready, and we have them all in our own ranking.
Ranking,
At
and
the
then
bottom,
look at
I
it,
don't
yeah.
care if it's 15 or 16, whatever, throw it on, but like definitely have,
Okay.
right?
And then
our rankings.
at least, you know, I do surveying and data analytics for a living. We could also just have all of them and each of us pick 5.
Yeah.
And then you count.
Okay.
Which one's got the most?
Yes, that's what
Okay, we could, I think that's better.
Instead of us ranking 20 of them, I'm saying,
Yeah.
everyone
Let's just
pick 5
5, exactly. And then we-
from the left.
Yes, I
No,
No, I know.
Yeah, I was
But in the
moving
final decision, you have to be ranking.
You have to all have those.
Like, you could be, you have 5, I pick that more, and then we can count.
Yeah, the top 5 are the most important, like you said, they only pick one.
I send you, the reimbursement form.
All right,
Okay.
I send it today.
okay, so
For-
we do,
but like last-
it?
what
Today.
An absentee form.
See, hi.
Can we discuss that at our special meeting as well?
Can we talk about, at least 15 minutes to discuss?
Yes.
That at the special meeting?
Second, third.
That is the server.
And it's virtual, so Monday, it's virtual.